The green hats, the white shirts, the green numerals, the green pants of Delta State at the left end of your radio dial. That's the VSU Center into Bazemore Hyder Stadium. The black hats, the black shirts, the white numerals, the gray pants of Valdosta State at the right end. The Blazers are going to kick off to start this first half right here. Robert and Phyllis Branch just down below. Glad to see them out at the football game. Our hearts and prayers have certainly been with them the last couple of weeks. Here's the James Lightfoot kick. It's going to be low and going to be fielded on the far side on the first bounce. And he dropped it and picks it up again at the 10, out at the 15. Got it tied from behind. Somebody grabbed his jersey and pulled him down from behind. For the Blazers, that was Kevin Sams. Reached out and grabbed Rodney Peterson and brought him down by the nape of his neck.
I tell you what, Kevin Sams has been a guy on cover teams as a freshman that when you look at a freshman, that's exactly what you like to see him do. Come in on special teams and make an impact and then wait in their wings as they get a chance to play. Kevin Sams has done a tremendous job on special teams for us all year, Mike.
Coming into the football game, this Delta State team runs for 105 yards a game. They pass for 189 yards a game. They only average 11.4 points per contest. They're going to stay on the ground to open things up. And maybe a yard on the play. Call it 2nd and 9 as they go right up the middle immediately. And this is a team that does not have a lot of weapons, folks. They've fallen behind some, and then they force themselves to pass. And as a result, their quarterback today, Mike Kershaw, 76 out of 155, 12 interceptions on the year. He's thrown for 1,059 yards and 5 touchdowns. And he will bring him up. Kershaw is a 6 foot, 155-pound junior. Toss sweep on the far side. Brought down immediately by the Blazers. Brad Trout with a tremendous tackle that time on Treg Thomas.
Boy, I tell you, it looked like Valdosta State definitely had a key on what the Delta State offense was doing there, Mike. They went with 3 backs in the backfield, and Valdosta State must have pulled some tendencies out because both of the linebackers were shed and really bumped over outside the end, and Brad Trout came in unblocked at that time. One thing I am a little surprised about, you heard Mike Kelly allude to the fact that Delta State gets behind, they have to throw the ball, and Tregno Thomas might not have an opportunity to run the way they'd like to. I was surprised that they actually deferred to the second half and didn't take the ball and put them behind right away.
3rd and 13 for the Delta State University team. Kershaw wants to roll left. He's going to be hit and knocked down. The ball's loose. The Blazers are going to pick up the football and go into the end zone. Touchdown, Valdosta State University.
Wow.
We pick up the loose football, take it into the end zone, and Richard Freeman Shad himself has got a touchdown.
Arto Vartanian Mike comes scot-free, and when Kershaw drops back, no one even touched Arto. He laid a lick on him. The ball went on the ground, and Shad picked it up and rolled into the end zone.
Vartanian really laid some kind of blow on Kershaw, and the Blazers are on the board. 13:25 to play in the first quarter. Here's Lightfoot for the PAT. Donnie Johnson will hold. It's a low snap with the left foot up and good. Valdosta State 7, Delta State 0. Back for more from Bazemore Hyder Stadium after this 30-second local break.
Michael Jordan, UNCF, take 1.
We're here to tell you about the College Fund. It was set up to help deserving kids get a chance to be what they want to be. Are there any future doctors in the house?
Yeah!
Any scientists?
Yeah!
What about teachers?
Yeah!
All right, now who's going to play professional basketball? Come on. It's a good job. Please join me and support the College Fund. If mine is a terrible thing to waste.
Yeah!
7-0, flame red and black, and this crowd still settling back into its seats. Had something to cheer about earlier as Vartanian put a tremendous blow on the quarterback Kershaw. The ball shook free, and Freeman knew what to do with it. He saw the loose pig on the ground, scooped it up, went 3 yards for the touchdown on the fumble return. Blazers 7, Statesmen 0. Lightfoot with his second kickoff of the afternoon. Going to kick it very deep. Going to be fielded at the 6-yard line by Peterson. Peterson runs to the near side to the 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. Knocked down at midfield from behind. Not a good coverage that time by the Blazers, as finally Derek Dixon has to come over and bring Peterson down right at the midfield stripe.
Well, Mike, that time it looked like Jamie Lightfoot had a great kick. He kicked the ball over into the left-hand corner, and Delta State set up a return going the right-hand side. All of the Valdosta State defenders got pinned in a little bit inside, and Daniels did a great job of chasing that ball down.
1st and 10 for the Statesmen. They're a foot inside Blazer territory, right at the 49.5-yard line of the flame red and black. Kershaw's got two backs behind him in the eye. Toss sweep to Treg Thomas. Thomas on the far side takes it to the 44-yard line. Brought down there by Vartanian.
Boy, you see when Tregnell Thomas gets the ball in his hand on the outside like that, Mike, why he is such a threat, because he seems to have a second gear, and we alluded to it last year in the coverage. Sometimes it looked like the defenders were about to tackle him, and he just finds another gear and seems to get past the defenders.
He certainly does. A swift little back coming into the game. 126 carries, 559 yards, and only 3 touchdowns on the year. Picks up 6 on that play. It'll be 2nd and 4. The Blazers' 44-yard line. Kershaw, the quarterback. This time he wants to throw down the field. Coming out near side. Got a man going to catch the ball at the 30 and then be knocked down at the 25-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Statesmen at the Blazer. 25. Threw it out to the near side. Hunter Caston was there. 190-pound sophomore from Louisville, Mississippi.
Hunter Caston ran a great route that time on Vaughn Clark, who has just had a tremendous last 3 weeks in man-to-man coverage. Caston came out, ran a little out route, did a great job of pushing Vaughn Clark, making him think he was going deep and breaking it off, and the protection was much better for Kershaw that time.
1st and 10 for Todd Knight, Statesman. They're knocking on the door already at the 26-yard line of the Blazers, right into your now. Kershaw is going to hand off to Treg Thomas. Thomas going to be dragged down right at the 25-yard line. Tremaine Neal, first flame red and black Blazer to hit him.
Mike, it seems as though when Delta State wants to try to run the ball in between tackle and tackle, Valdosta State has enough people accounted for in there, and somebody seems to be coming unblocked each time. Delta State's been able to bounce it outside and really seem to have more room running outside than they do inside.
Treg Thomas is going to gain maybe a foot on the play. It'll be 2nd and 9.5 at the 25. Toss sweep to the near side. Thomas trying to turn the corner. Does it at the 20, at the 15. Knocked down right at the 15-yard line. And this time for the Blazers, it's Jarmal Stevens, the man who made the tackle.
Once again, Brad Trout on the outside, that time on the toss sweep to the right-hand side. And the lead blocker, big fullback for Delta State, was out there, and Valdosta State was outnumbered on the flank, had to rely on Jamal Stevens to come up from his safety position to make the tackle, and he did about a yard short of the first down, Mike.
It'll be a 9-yard pickup, 3rd and 1 for the Green Hats from Cleveland, Mississippi, right at the 16-yard line of Valdosta State. Balls on the near side hash, headed to the right end. We lead it 7-0 on a 3-yard fumble return for a touchdown by Shad Freeman. Kershaw is going to go straight ahead this time. First man through is going to take it to the 10-yard line. First carry of the football game for Matt Walker, the fullback, the freshman from Canton, Mississippi. A flag is down at the 14-yard line.
Well, we're either going to have a procedure against Delta State, and I see Delta State signaling offsides against Valdosta State, so it could go either way. They're talking to Delta State, so I think it's probably going to be offsides.
Mike Kershaw, the 6', 155-pound junior from Opelousas, Louisiana, is talking to the official. It'll be offsides against the Black Swarm. The penalty is declined. The play will count. It'll be 1st and 10, just outside the 10-yard line for the Delta State University Statesmen. 0-7 on the year, 0-6 in the Gulf South Conference. Preseason favorites to win the league.
You like the fact that we're up 7-0, Mike, but the offense still hadn't seen the field yet.
That's exactly right. 10:45 to play in the first quarter of the football game. Toss sweep to Treg Thomas. Thomas at the 10, at the 5, going to be knocked down at the 2-yard line. Very close to the first down. Boy, he has some kind of quick feet. Vaughn Clark makes the tackle for the defense of Mark Nelson.
Well, Mike, I talked about the previous series whenever Brad Trout made the big play on the full house backfield, and they seemed to, Valdosta State seemed to have Delta State outnumbered on the outside. Since that time, Delta State has gone just 2 guys in the backfield, and they've really been able to outflank Valdosta State on the outside.
Got Treg Thomas set up very, very deep there, about a yard shy of the first down. Quarterback's going to take it himself, but he'll be pulled back by Tremaine Neal. I think it was a busted play. He wanted to go to the fullback. Fullback didn't take the ball, so Kershaw had to take it himself. He's pulled back and knocked down. They're going to mark the football right at the line of scrimmage at the 1-yard line.
Mike, they were able to pick up a first down this time, but they're signaling he's just short. It's 3rd down, and this is one of those things you wonder how in the world they mark it coming from the sideline. You don't even know. It's 3rd down right here, but they do have a chance to get a first down.
3rd and inches right at the 1-yard line. Kershaw goes straight ahead, tries to go into the end zone. It will be, flags are down at the goal line.
Well, again, it probably could be offsides or illegal procedure. The line judge has tossed the flag both times.
Come over and make the signal, and it will be an illegal procedure call against Delta State University. So we get them off the goal line. They do not get the first down. So it will be 3rd and 5 yards to go, and they're going to bring the football back out here at should be about the 7-8 yard line. They're going to mark it at the 6, however. At the 6 yard line, they got to get down to about the 1 foot line to get a first down. 9:31 to play in the first quarter. 7-0. Valdosta State in the lead. As Carl said, the offense has not even been on the field. The defense has already scored a touchdown this afternoon after Vartanian sacked quarterback Kershaw. He dropped the football. Freeman picked it up, took it 3 yards into the end zone. Lightfoot headed the PAT, and here we go. On 3rd down, 5 yards to go. Kershaw is under center. Let's know. He got a different quarterback this time, and he pitches to Trey Thomas. Going to be knocked down at the 6 yard line. He won't get it. It'll be 4th down as they bring in from the bench Clifton Shavers, the wide receiver, 6'3", 175-pound junior from right there in Cleveland, Mississippi, to take over the quarterbacking duties from Kershaw.
Well, it looked as though Delta State had called an option 2 plays before, and Kershaw was going to tuck the ball right in behind the fullback, and they wanted to get more of a threat at the runner or the quarterback position, so they put Shavers into the quarterback position, Mike, to run the option, and that time Valdosta State had it sniffed out very well.
Trey Agner will try the field goal. It'll be a 22-yard attempt from the far side hash. Movement and flags along the way. The Black Swarm defense has done a magnificent job of keeping them out of the end zone. They were poised for glory at the 1 foot line, but then the penalty really was a dagger in the hearts of Cleveland, Mississippi fans. Here's the call from the officials. It will be an offsides penalty against Valdosta State. So he'll get a little closer there. They look over to the sideline and see if Todd Knight wants to do anything as far as getting closer and maybe going for it.
Mike, they marked that penalty off wrong. There you go. Now, see, they were given it's half the distance to the goal line there, not all the way down to the 1 foot line, so they come all the way back now. They had the ball sitting on the foot-yard line there for a minute, and it's half the distance to the goal line. Terry Turner jumped off sides. It looked like the guy in front of him moved. Now the ball is a little bit closer for Delta State. They'll be at the 2 yard line.
Trey Agner will again try the field goal. He's hit 5 out of 6 field goals this year. This would be a little chip shot. It'll only be an 18-yard attempt up, and it is good. So Delta State is on the board, 7-3. Valdosta State over Delta State. 8:26 to go in the first quarter. We'll take a 60-second network break. This is the Blazer Sports Network.
More than 140,000 Americans have joined Peace Corps. Returning home, their experiences last a lifetime. Meet Sandra Hood, a substance abuse counselor, and Jean Lee, a community services director.
My Peace Corps experience has been invaluable because part of it is about just getting in there and doing it.
I had my college education, my volunteer experience, and then Peace Corps was just another added star.
Overall, my Peace Corps experience has enriched my life in ways that are very hard to define.
Peace Corps service prepares me for what I'm doing now because it taught me how to think quickly on my feet.
It's pretty much what you make of it. There are many, many opportunities in the Peace Corps.
I strongly encourage everyone to join the Peace Corps.
Peace Corps volunteers, changing America and changing the world. See how you can make a difference. Peace Corps, the toughest job you'll ever love.
Knocked down at the 39-yard line. Eric Doggett with a 35-yard return there of the kickoff. Gives the Blazers good field position. Now they're going to put it back a foot or two. I don't know why, but they do, back at the 38.5-yard line.
Good job that time by the front wedge, we call it. The front 4 guys leading Eric Doggett up the middle, and they were able to create a seam. Doggett heading north and south, boy, like he always does, and hits the seam and gets big yardage.
Brazil in the slot up at the top of your screen. Doggett wide to the right. To the near side is Bowman. The motion man is Carlton Nelson. You still got Bontrell back there. Rolling right. Donnie J wants to throw. First offensive play of the game. Going to get his man at the 45-yard line. On the far side, it's finished for Zell. So it will be 2nd and 3 for the Blazers. 7-yard pickup as Donnie Johnson goes airborne for the first offensive play of the game for the Flame Red and Black.
Well, we talked about it earlier in the season whenever Donnie Johnson saw his first action. One of the things that helps Donnie Johnson is whenever they get him some short throws in the game early, allow him to learn and get a feel for the game, and then later on he seems to perform much better when things go well early for him.
Johnson threw 4 interceptions last week. One of them a real backbreaker as the Mule Riders take it all the way down to the 3-yard line. It eventually scored. Donnie J this time is going to roll left, look to throw it over this side. Got a man open, but he's going to overthrow Frizzell. Frizzell was wide open inside Statesman territory at the 46, but DJ overthrew him.
Mike, we've oftentimes talked about 5, 6, 7 guys in the box, meaning how many are between tackle and tackle. Delta State is making sure they have one more man in the box than Valdosta State can block. That leaves Dennis Frizzell in the slot wide open. Both times they've been able to come out here and run a little quick out with Frizzell, and they just haven't been able to get him the ball the second time, or else it would have been an easy first down. Good 3rd and 3 right here.
7:25 to play in the first quarter. 7-3. Valdosta State on top of Delta State. 3rd and 3. Motion man is Nelson. DJ under center. Draws them off. Toss sweep to Vontrell. First carry of the afternoon. Vontrell's going to bounce it to the outside and get the first down. But it should be a 5-yard penalty against the Green Hats from Cleveland, Mississippi.
Great job with the cadence that time. Donnie Johnson able to draw. Looked like the whole left side of Delta State off sides. And Vontrell, once again, after the first contact, able to bounce it up and pick up the first down. Let's see what the call is going to be.
Officials still conferring right over there in front of Todd Knight and the Delta State University football team. You got to believe that they're going to come up and smack somebody before this season is over. They're not that bad. They just haven't been able to score any points. The penalty is going to be offsetting penalties, one against VSU and one against Delta State. So the ball will be right where it was at the 46-yard line in a 3rd and 3 situation for Mike Kelly's Blazers. 7:18 to play in the first quarter. 7-3, Valdosta State on top.
Mike, once again, it looked like that Dennis Frizzell, the inside slot receiver, is again uncovered. So I look for Valdosta State to try to come out here and find some way to get him the ball.
Got a guy reading the paper just down below. How interested could he be in the football game? DJ under center, rolling left, looking to throw the short one. Now he's running out of time. He'll be dragged down at the 33-yard line. Oh, man. The Green Hats came long, hard, and often that time. Rodney Thompson, the junior defensive end from Bassfield, Mississippi, 6'5", 280 pounds, brings Donnie Johnson to the turf.
Mike, look for Valdosta State to come back and run that little shuttle trap right back inside where they toss the ball underhanded, because Valdosta State both times have run sprint out, and it looks like the whole flow from Delta State is just running to the sideline to try to cut him off.
Wayne Devane, 36 punts on the year for 37.8 yards average, is going to be in to kick the football. It's a high hanger. Going to be taken by Delta State, and now at the 23-yard line, looked like we reached a hand in there as the guy was trying to catch the football.
That's exactly what it's going to be, and they're going to give him the fair catch interference that time. It didn't signal for a fair catch, but the defender has to be given 2 yards to catch the ball. Derek Dixon, the freshman cornerback out of Columbus, came in, was just a little bit eager to lay the lick on the punt returner that time, and he was there a little bit soon.
6:34 to play in the first quarter. Valdosta State leads it 7-3 over Delta State. Delta last week led West Georgia at halftime 3-0, but the Braves of Charlie Fisher just absolutely buried them in the second half, and the Braves finally win the game 28-9. And it is the penalty against the Black Hats of Mike Kelly. Valdosta State comes into the football game averaging over 10 penalties a game. As a matter of fact, 10.1 penalties. We lose 85.6 yards per contest via the penalty route. 1st and 10. Kershaw's back in there at the quarterback spot. His team will set up at the 29-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Delta State University football team. Kershaw is going to option on the far side. Treg Thomas at the 30. Thomas at the 35. Hard yardage to the 36-yard line. He'll pick up 7 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 3 right at the 36 of Delta State.
Mike, that time Delta State came in. They ran the 3 wide receiver set with 2 of them receivers flanked to the right, 1 receiver to the left. They went back and ran the option back to the left-hand side, the weak side, and once again it seemed on the outside perimeter that Valdosta State was outnumbered. Actually, Vaughn Clark did a great job of fighting a blocker off and getting in on the tackle.
Houston Cunningham comes wide to the near side. Ball's on the far side hash. 2nd and 3 for the Statesmen. Got a man, he thought the count was on one number, and Kershaw had other ideas, so it'll be a penalty. Billy Lyles, the freshman from Forest, Mississippi. Movement before the football, a little backfield in motion.
Oh, no, we got chasing singing again.
5:51 to play in the first. 7-3, Flame Red and Black on top. Last home game of the 1997 college football season for the Blazers.
I tell you what, that's a big penalty for Delta State, too, because they do not like to be in these 2nd and 8 situations. They like to be able to get the ball to Tregnell.
Going to toss it to Thomas. Thomas at the 30. Going to zig, going to zag, but he'll be knocked down at the 35-yard line. So Antonio Speed is there for Valdosta State University.
Jesse Sutton does a great job that time of fighting off the lead blocker, the fullback that time, and turning the play back inside where it looked like Antonio Speed was able to chase the play down and make it before Tregnell Thomas could get anything going. Tregnell also tripped over his own feet. It looked like trying to cut back inside.
3rd and 5 for the Delta State team. They trail at 7-3 with 5:08 to play in the first period at Bazemore Hyder Stadium. Beautiful sunny afternoon, 76 degrees in Valdosta, Georgia. Kershaw wants to throw, whistles and flags. What do you got, Carl Parker?
Mike, it looks like we may have a delay of game, and actually the play was stopped before it ever got going because they couldn't get the ball snapped.
The 25-second play clock had run out, and here's the call from the official. It will be illegal procedure call against Delta State. They've been stymied by penalties, and now it'll be a 3rd and actually about 10 yards to go with 4:58 to play in the first quarter. Valdosta State on the road for the final 2 games of the 1997 college football season. Next Saturday afternoon, Carl and I will be in Conway, Arkansas, as Valdosta State and Central Arkansas tee it up. And in 2 weeks from tonight, we'll be in Carrollton, Georgia, as the West Georgia, right now the front runner in the Gulf South Conference race. We'll be playing Charlie Fisher's Braves. 3rd and 10. Kershaw wants to throw. Deep drop down the field. Got a man down here going to be tipped up in the air and incomplete. Beautiful try for the football that time by Clifton Shavers, who actually played quarterback on one play on the goal line earlier. Shavers bounced it up in the air and made a lunging grab, but could not pull it down.
Well, Mike, when you look at Clifton Shavers, who runs 6'3", and then you look at our boy Austin Harmon, who runs 5'11", there's a definite height advantage there, and Austin did a great job of staying with Shavers and knocking the ball away at the last minute.
Greg Rudolph will come in to punt the ball away. He'll be standing at his own 20-yard line, and it's Doggett time. He puts it up and away with the right foot. Eric Doggett is going to field it, going to trip back and field it at the 22. Doggett on the far side. Flag is down. Doggett's looking to run to the near side. He's going to get a block right there. Doggett at the 20. Doggett's going to be knocked down right at the 20-yard line. Thought he was going to burst out of there. What's the flag all about?
Mike, there's laundry all over the field. I don't know how many clips were going to get called that time, but it was really a bad decision by Eric to try to reverse field that time. We talked about heading north and south, and as a punt returner, oftentimes if you can break that first wave and then bounce it outside, good things happen. Whenever you start retreating, bad things happen, and it puts your blockers in a bad position to be able to make a good block for you. And that's exactly what happened. It's going to pin Valdosta State now inside the 10.
It certainly is, and it'll be 1st and 10 for the Blazers at their own 9-yard line. 91 yards to go before striking that glory land. Blazers lead at 7-3 on the 3-yard fumble return by Shad Freeman. Donnie J's got his work cut out for him here. He's hoping to rebound from last week's disappointing performance against the Mule Riders. He's going to go straight ahead, and that's going nowhere as the Green Hats... They must have been in a huddle on that one. We handed to the fullback, went straight ahead and got nothing. Carlton Nelson's going to be actually knocked down. He's going to lose 3 yards on the play, back to the 6-yard line.
Well, Mike, once again, it looks like Delta State is very intent on putting enough people inside the box to stop the run. Valdosta State's going to have to try to find a way to outflank them to the outside, or else Donnie Johnson's going to have to put the ball up in the air with some sort of success to get these guys out of that box.
It will be 2nd and 13 for the Blazers with their backs against the goal line down here. Carlton Nelson in motion. Donnie Johnson's going to option on the near side to Von Trail. He'll step out of bounds right at the 9-yard line, back at the original line of scrimmage. Still 3rd and 10 for the Blazers. You know what impresses me most so far about Delta State? They are not playing like an 0-7 football team. They have not mailed in the rest of the season, even though they know exactly when their season's going to end.
Well, Mike, when you look at the history of this series right now, it's 7-7-1, as I recall from looking at the literature. And last year, it was the final game of the season. Delta State was done for the year whenever they beat Valdosta State. They had no reason to play. Valdosta State was looking for the playoffs. So Todd Knight does a good job of keeping these guys up for a full scheduled season.
Absolutely. Rolling left again. DJ is going to flip it. It's going to go into the end zone. Von Trail dives for it, and it'll be a safety as they dive on Von Trell in the end zone. They wanted to get the football and get a touchdown. Donnie Johnson flipped it out on the option. Von Trell had already passed him. The ball was rolling free in the end zone. Von Trell had to go back there, and boy, then the Statesman jumped all over him. He gets up very, very slowly. They jump on him for a safety. Just like that, it's 7-5.
Well, Mike, that time they came back with the same option play to the short side of the field. Donnie Johnson took the ball all the way down to the defensive end and pitched the ball out there well in front of Von Trell. Von Trell did a good job going back, getting on the ball, or it would have been a touchdown for Delta State.
Chris Gingro was back there helping Von Trell up, and boy, Von Trell is still kind of shaking the cobwebs out. So with the safety, we got a Cleveland Indians Florida Marlins score, 7-5, and right now the Blazers are the Marlins on top with a 7, and the Indians are the Delta State University Statesmen with a 5, 3:23 to go in the first quarter on a sunny Saturday afternoon, the first day of November 1997, and the Blazers will now get the free kick, and Delta State will get great field position.
Mike, when you look at the way the tempo of this game has gone, 3:23 to go in the game, and Valdosta State has only run 5 or 6 offensive plays against this Delta State team, and they have not been very well executed. In addition, Delta State seems very intent on making Valdosta State throw the football in front.
Jamie Lightfoot will get the kick from his own 20-yard line. Delta State got 2 men back at its own 20. Here's the left footer. Is going to put it up and low line drive. He'll kick it out of bounds on the far side at the 28-yard line.
Well, it looked like Jamie planted his plant foot that time and slipped out from under him, and the ball was hooked to the right-hand side, and we're actually going to have a penalty added on top of that because of a personal foul after the ball was out of the bounds. It looked as though, let's see who, Dominic June, a freshman from Stone Mountain, had some extracurricular activity after the game, after the ball had been whistled dead. So it's going to be a big-time penalty, Mike.
And it would have been a penalty anyway because he kicked it out of bounds, and now we got a late hit against Valdosta State. So the penalties continue to mount. We're still in the first period, 7-5, Valdosta State on top, 3:19 to play in the first quarter.
Well, Mike, I'm not sure on a legal procedure how the wording is on where the ball is marked when it's kicked out of the bounds, because actually it's usually kicked from about the 35 or the 40-yard line on kickoffs, and he kicked it out of bounds. Usually they mark it on the 35-yard line. It could be actually marked at the 50, and then the personal foul added on top of it, which would be all the way to the Valdosta State 35-yard line.
They're still walking, folks, and Carl Parker's going to hit it absolutely perfectly. His ball's going to be down right on the 35-yard line, as Carl explained to you. Usually you kick off from the 35. This time we kick off from the 20 because of the safety. It's like giving the Statesmen the football right down there on the goal line. The VSU fans are complaining vociferously here. But Carl hit it just right because you kick it out of bounds, and it's still 15 yards. Here we go. 1st and 10 for the Statesmen at the 35-yard line of the Blazers. Delta State trails it only 7-5. Kershaw, the quarterback, got 2 men in the backfield with him. The Blazer defensive unit seemingly been on the field all afternoon. Going to toss it to Treg Thomas. Bounces off the line. Now he comes to the outside. He'll be knocked down and gang tackled right at the 30-yard line. Picks up 5 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 5 at the 30-yard line of the Blazers.
Great job that time by Vaughn Clark of fighting off Shavers, the big outside receiver, and coming up and putting the hit on Tregnell Thomas. Tregnell's still able to gain a good 5 yards after it, and it seems, as I've said all night, that whenever Tregnell gets the ball on the flank, Mike, there's two or three people in front of him there to block our one guy. We're going to need a big play out of the defense right here now to try to change the tempo of this game.
Tregnell, the 5'7", 170-pound sophomore from Pascagoula, Mississippi. Here's the option to Tregnell at the 30. He'll go inside the 30 to the 27-yard line. He'll be shy of the first down by a couple of yards.
Matt Walker, a 6'2", 220 fullback, number 45, actually leading the way for Tregnell that time, was the lead blocker on Vaughn Clark. And Vaughn Clark does a great job not trying to run through him, but eluding him and making the tackle on Thomas, who actually stepped it up inside, only got a couple of yards, so it's going to leave him short about 3rd and 3, Mike.
2 minutes to play in the first quarter. 7-5, Valdosta State on top. The Blazers give up their first safety of the season. Kershaw is the quarterback. Got a slot on the right side. Now we got the fullback moves up into a flanker-like position, but they're going to hand off to Treg Thomas. Thomas at the 25, to the 20, to the 15, to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown, Delta State. Treg Thomas went to the outside, cut it back to the inside, and there was a bat to the goal line, and the Blazer Black Swarm defensive unit right now has been rocked back on its heels. They only had 35 yards to go, and they accomplished it smartly in 3 plays. 1:45 to play in the first period of the football game. 11-7, a very strange football score on a Saturday afternoon in Wintersville, USA.
Looks like Delta State's probably going to go for 2 here, Mike. It's 11-7 now, and they're going to have to take a timeout in order to get the right play in.
We'll pause for station ID. This is the Blazer Sports Network.
WVLD Valdosta.
Barker, when you look at the way this game has developed, the Blazers got a false spring early in the football game. They fumbled the football. We take it in for a touchdown, 7-0, barely 25 seconds into the game. Now the whole game is turned the other way.
Well, Mike, and not only that, but I'm looking at the inefficiency of the Valdosta State offense to move the football. As I've said, Delta State seems intent on making Valdosta State throw the football down the field. They're packing 8-9 guys inside the box and making them throw it. And at what point do you consider bringing Patrick Pruitt into the game and getting a pure passer in the game and putting the ball up down the field? I think last week you're looking at Mike Kelly, who said, we're going to stick with Donnie Johnson. The team seems to have rallied behind him, and he's been able to put some numbers up and help us win. But that actually was a consideration.
11-7, Delta State in the lead. Kershaw in there at quarterback. They will go for 2. Motion man to the far side. Kershaw looking to throw into the end zone. Got a man over there going to catch it, and 2-point conversion, absolutely perfect. He threw it to the motion man, Clifton Shavers, for the 2-point conversion, and it's a 13-7 football game. Delta State over Valdosta State. 1:45 to go in the first quarter. We'll pause for 30 seconds. A local break on the Blazer Sports Network.
Realistically, maybe there you go. There you go.
Come on, Lou. Don't give up, Lou. Come on, Lou. Lou. Don't give up, Lou.
Yeah,
Don't give up, Lou.
If you don't stop someone from driving drunk, who will? Do whatever it takes.
In the last home game of the 1997 season here at Bazemore Hyder Stadium for the Valdosta State University Blazers, you would have thought after last week's loss, VSU would come in very focused this afternoon. Carl Barker, that has not been the case.
Well, it looks like now with 1:45 to go in the first quarter, Valdosta State offense is yet to pick up a first down. They've had the ball twice, and both times it's been 3 and out. The last time they threw the ball on the ground and had a safety in the background or in the end zone. So the Valdosta State defense has been tested all day thus far.
Let's see if we can get someone on the kickoff return here. You got Wendell Olden and you got Eric Doggett back at the 10-yard line. Here is Delta State. Trey Agner to kick off. Going to put it up and with the right foot, deep end over end. Going to kick it into the end zone over everybody's head. 1st and 10 at the 20 for the Blazers.
That time the ball was booted. It looked like Delta State was trying to do everything in their power to kick the ball away from Eric Doggett, who's been so dangerous thus far. And Valdosta State countered by trying to stack Wendell Olden and Eric Doggett and not give away which side that Doggett was going to go to.
Remember, this Delta State team led West Georgia, the Gulf South Conference leader, 3-0 at halftime last week. West Georgia erupted for 28 second-half points. 101 seconds to play in the first quarter. Blazers down 13-7, led it 7-0 at one point. Donnie Johnson still in there at quarterback. Toss sweep now on the reverse. Here comes Doggett. Doggett gets a block from Donnie J. Doggett's got some open field in front of him at the 20. Going to zigzag to the 25, knocked down at the 27-yard line. So he picks up 7 yards on the play and actually ran all the way across the field to get 7 yards out of it.
Well, Mike, I am telling you, there were 2 very smart blocks that time. The first one by Donnie Johnson, who very well could have clipped the defensive end, and as it stood, Eric Doggett set him up. Donnie able to throw a good block, and the same thing occurred down the field whenever Dennis Frizzell was able to do it to the defensive back. But a good 7-yard gain and tried to get a little razzle-dazzle in there. It wasn't the shuttle pass we'd seen earlier. That time they handed it behind.
13-7, Valdosta State trails with under a minute to play in the first quarter. Motion man is Carlton Nelson. Donnie J, long time with a snap count. Going to go to the fullback. Nelson to the 30, to the 33-yard line. First down. Blazers, the first of the afternoon for Mike Kelly's football team.
Well, Carlton Nelson has a good little crease there in the middle, and looks like Valdosta State is going to try to hit some quick inside stuff and not allow the ball to flow because, again, you're looking at still, there were 9 men inside the box that time. There is no free safety down the middle of the field. I look for Mike Bowman to get a chance to catch the ball down the field somewhere here, Mike.
35 seconds and counting in the first quarter of the football game. Blazers trail at 13-7. Donnie Johnson sends Carlton Nelson in motion. He's got Vontrell back there. Going to hand off to Vontrell. He slips down as he received the football right at the 32-yard line. Lost a yard on the play.
But Delta State, Valdosta State coming with their traditional set with 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left, and having 2 to one side, 2 receivers to one side, 1 to the back side. And Delta State is lining their outside linebacker up. It looks like it's number 44, Bobby Parnell. And when the ball is snapped, he is just running in, Mike, really with no regard to cover Dennis Frizzell at all and just throwing Valdosta State off on the alignment.
That's the end of the first quarter. Your score, Delta 13, VSU 7. Back for more from Bazemore Hunter Stadium after this 90-second network break.
The crayon box that talked. While walking in a toy store the day before today, I overheard a crayon box with many things to say. I don't like red, said Yellow, and Green said, nor do I. And no one here likes orange, but no one knows just why. We are a box of crayons that doesn't get along, said Blue to all the others. Something here is wrong. Well, I bought that box of crayons and took it home with me and laid out all the colors so the crayons could all see. They watched me as I colored, with red and blue and green and black and white and orange and every color in between. They watched as green became the grass and blue became the sky. The yellow sun was shining bright on white clouds drifting by. Colors changing as they touched, becoming something new. They watched me as I colored. They watched till I was through. And when I'd finally finished, I began to walk away. And as I did, the crayon box had something more to say. I do like red, said Yellow, and Green said, so do I. And Blue, you were terrific so high up in the sky. We are a box of crayons, each one of us unique. But when we get together, the picture is complete.
Another first down for the Blazers on the opening play of the second quarter. We threw the little dart throw. Donnie Johnson to Carlton Nelson, the fullback, right over the middle. We saw that play last week. He rambles for a first down to the 47-yard line of Valdosta State. Just underway in the second period. Blazers trail at 13-7 to winless Delta State University.
Mike, the flow definitely is one of the things we talked about. Delta State really over pursuing, and Valdosta State took advantage of that.
Delta State, oh, man, they have got 6 people right up there on the line of scrimmage. Donnie J needs to stretch them out, throws it down the field to somebody. Bowman was over there, but there were a lot of green hats over there as well. Incomplete. Blazers down 13-7, 14:26 to play in the first half. First quarter stats, what do you got, Carl Parker?
Well, as we talked about, only 1 first down for Valdosta State. Delta State had 3 total offensive plays. Valdosta had 9 for 7 yards. Delta State had 17 plays for 78 yards. And the big thing was the 1 turnover, actually, for Delta State, which was converted to a touchdown. That's the big difference.
Valdosta State didn't have a turnover, but we tossed the football into the end zone where we got a safety. Donnie J is going to option it late to Vontrell at the 45, going to take it to the 49-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 8 for the Blazers at the 49.
That looked like a little counter option. Valdosta State's been going one side. They actually reversed the backs and the quarterback and came back to the weak side to run the option. Donnie Johnson does a good job of holding on to the ball, trying to get the defensive end to commit, but by the time he does that, the safety's able to come up and make the tackle on Vontrell Mitchell for only about a 2-yard gain.
Vontrell last week got started in the second half, did virtually nothing in the first half, finally winds up with 96 yards on the afternoon against the Mule Riders of Southern Arkansas. Valdosta State had only 204 yards of offense in that football game. 13:45 to play in the first half. Valdosta State down 13-7. Going to give to Vontrell straight ahead at the 40 to the 35 to the 30 to the 26-yard line. Vontrell Mitchell for the Blazers. First down, flame red and black.
Mike, you have got to take your hat off to the Valdosta State offensive group there. That time they brought 4 receivers into the game, spread everybody out, and didn't panic. They handed on the inside run. With it being 3rd and 8, Delta State had to honor that. They pulled up both of their linebackers out, trying to get coverage in. They gave the inside handoff to Vontrell, and there was a big crease there.
Donnie Johnson under center, fresh set of downs. Now he's got this offense moving out at the 26-yard line of Delta State. 13:20 to play in the first half. Blazers trail 13-7. Moving along the O-line, should be against VSU.
Well, and I tell you what, we have heard Matt Dunnigan talk about this, and forget the little set they called it, but they try to get their 4 receivers in the game and split them way out wide and make the defense define themselves. Valdosta State's come with that, and they've spread everybody out, and Delta State is not getting their linebackers out far enough, so they were going to throw the ball that time right out here to Dennis Frizzell, let him pick up 5 or 6 yards, and Delta State's going to have to pull them out to cover that, Mike.
Along that offensive line, Solkowski and Golias and Chris Gingro and those guys we've been telling you about all season long, Jernigan up there. So a very young offensive line growing along as the season goes along. 13 minutes to play in the first half. Blazers down 13-7. After the 5-yard penalty for the motion, Valdosta State's going to go to Donnie J. He's going to go straight up the middle, going to dive to the 23-yard line. Looked like a quarterback carry all the way.
It was, Mike. That time they took the lone back, who was Vontrell Mitchell, put him in motion, and it pulled the middle linebacker out of the middle of the field, and there was no one there but a free safety. Donnie Johnson found a good crease there in the middle and picked up a good 8-9 yards on the play.
Yes, he did. 8-yard pickup for Donnie J. Coming into the football game, he'd carried it 36 times for 32 yards and 4 touchdowns. 12:22 to play in the half. Going to hand off to Vontrell. Vontrell wants to turn the corner at the 20. Can he beat him to the corner? He can. Pushed out of bounds at the 15-yard line. Vontrell Mitchell for the Blazers is going to pick up a VSU first down.
An excellent adjustment here by the offensive staff from Valdosta State, Mike, because they've put this set in. They've been running really 3 receivers all year long. They pull him, put a 4th receiver. Actually, they're leaving Carlton Nelson in the game and flanking him all the way to the outside. And now they're able to find some room up inside there from tackle to tackle in order to get a mismatch against Delta State number-wise.
1st and 10 for the Flame, red and black at the 15-yard line of Delta State University. The Blazers had a 5-game winning streak until we went to Magnolia. We're going to hand off to Vontrell. He's going to bang into the line. He'll be knocked down at the 10-yard line. He'll pick up 5 on the play. So Vontrell Mitchell has got his legs under him now, starting to really pave the way, making the stop for the Green Hats from Cleveland, Mississippi. That time, Jim King, the sophomore from Clinton, Louisiana.
Well, Mike, that time Delta State totally disregarded Carlton Nelson, who was the inside receiver to the wide side of the field. Look for Valdosta State to come out here and try to pop it to one of these outside receivers.
Donnie J's got Frizzell in the slot on the right side. Doggett split wide to the right. Up at the top, he's got Nelson and Mike Bowman. In the backfield is Vontrell Mitchell. Long time with a snap count. Going to run into Vontrell. And Donnie's going to keep the ball, but he'll be smashed to the turf at the 15. He ran right into Vontrell Mitchell, and that twin set of 4s, Bobby Parnell, the linebacker, the senior from Greenwood, Mississippi, smashed him to the Bazemore Hyder Stadium turf.
Well, Mike, you hear Mike Kelly talk about quarterbacks getting them in a good position, being able to check things off at the line. Both the outside backers walked out over the inside receivers, and they were walking their way in and cheating, not even guarding the outside receivers, trying to time it as they snapped the ball to get in there and sack Donnie J. Really, it's probably a situation where he should have checked off to get that ball to the outside guys.
Lost 4 yards on the play. It'll be 3rd and 9 for the Blazers, back at the 14-yard line of Delta State. 10:45 to play in the first half of the football game. Donnie J looks left. Now he's going to roll right. Plenty of time. Going to throw into the end zone. There's Frizzell. Touchdown! Valdosta State University. And the first touchdown catch of the year for Dennis Frizzell.
Great job that time by Donnie J, who is his initial drop had no one to throw the ball to. He went to the scramble drill. Dennis Brazel worked his way across the field, and Donnie J found him in the back of the end zone.
Actually, the second touchdown catch. I forgot about one he had earlier. 19 catches for 203 yards and 1 touchdown coming in. That'll be the second touchdown catch of the year for Brazel. And I tell you what, the 6 foot, 185-pound freshman from Lakeland, Florida, looked good on that play. Donnie Johnson does not receive the snap from center, trying to get the extra point. His hands just did not catch it, and he tried to go on the ground and get it, not able to. So the Blazers misfire on the extra point. 10:41 to play in the first half. Blazers 13, Delta State 13. Back for more from Bazemore Hyder Stadium after this 30-second local break.
Tom, where you going? Man, we got a ball game here. Pardon me.
Pitcher got a rubber arm. It's has. Huh? Pitcher has a rubber arm.
If education is important to you, talk to your child's school about raising academic standards. Call 1-800-38-BE-SMART for a free booklet and be a big league parent.
Blazers mount a tremendous 80-yard drive, and I tell you, what did it take, 12, 13 plays there?
Actually, 14 plays. A great job. We got McCall's going to be in kicking now for Lightfoot.
Paul McCall, he shared time last year with Todd Douthit. Now he's in there kicking the football. End over end, going to be a short kick taken at the 17-yard line, headed to the far side of the field at the 20, to the 25, 30, 35, knocked down at the 40-yard line. Good return that time by Delta State's Rodney Peterson, 166-pound junior from Boonville, Mississippi.
Well, I don't know if you're looking at Mike Kelly, who was disappointed in Jamie Lightfoot, but that time you could see a distinct difference in the leg strength that actually that time McCall kicks the ball up and it barely makes the 20-yard line that time. And sometimes Jamie Lightfoot doesn't get the ball in the right place and kicks it out of bounds, but when he does, it is certainly a boomer into the end zone.
You're exactly right. Kershaw is the quarterback. Mike Kershaw, the 6 foot, 155-pound junior for Delta State. We got a 13-all tie. Kershaw wants to throw. Somebody dived at him, didn't get him. Going to throw it down the field, but going to overthrow his intended receiver, Hunter Caston, the 5'11", 190-pound sophomore, on the near side. Otherwise, boy, Kershaw make a heck of a play as somebody was just diving at him.
That was Shad Freeman, who actually hurled his body over the back, who was trying to cut his legs. And Delta State, after that first fumble, when they dropped back for pass protection, since then they've gone to a 3-step drop. They're not going to take any time trying to get that ball down the field. They're going to try to get it out of there quick. And by Freeman getting in the air, he disrupted the play. And it looked like Kershaw was just trying to get rid of the ball somewhere, Mike.
10:21 to play and a half, 13-all, Blazers and Delta State. Got one man in the backfield, that's Treg Thomas. Kershaw is going to take a long time looking over that Blazer defense and then hand off to Treg Thomas. Thomas is going to be knocked down at the 39-yard line. Jesse Sutton is in there, first man to get a hand on him. Sutton, the leading tackler on the team this year with 73 tackles.
Go figure that now, Mike. They come out here after having really handled Valdosta State on the edge, throwing the ball on the sweep and getting on the corner with Tregnell Thomas. They take a 3-step drop to throw it and then come with a misdirection play here. Delta State is a type team that if they take the ball right at you, they can give you some problems, much the way Southern Arkansas did against us last week.
It'll be 3rd and 11 for Coach Todd Knights, Delta State University Statesmen. Kershaw is going to change the play at the line of scrimmage. The Blazers are going to creep another man in there. Kershaw is going to roll right, wants to throw the ball, got some pressure, going to throw it into the bleachers on the far side, and one of the VSU students caught it on about the 5th row up in the aluminum bleachers on the far side of Bazemore Hyder Stadium and immediately tossed the ball back in to a manager. So the Black Swarm defense does its job on that particular possession. The Blazers and the Statesmen tied at 13, and you hear the crowd in the background give a nice little hand that time to Valdosta State University's defense. Mark Nelson, defensive coordinator. He can be proud of his troops on that play. Eric Doggett back at the 21-yard line. Here is the punt, up and away with the right foot. And Doggett's going to let it, he's going to call for a fair catch at the 15-yard line. Eric Doggett, the basketball player turned football player, done a great job for the Flame Red and Black this year. The VSU offense went 80 yards last time, Carl. Do you expect the same kind of results this time?
Well, I'm looking for them to make some adjustments right now. They brought in, they actually split Carlton Nelson out and put 4 wide receivers in, and that seems to be the set they've been able to move up the ball against Delta State on. Delta State began to make some adjustments down here whenever they began to creep those linebackers back inside. So let's see. Actually, we're seeing Doggett come back in and see if they come back with the same set and see if they can exploit Delta State and toss the ball out on the edge to those wide receivers to get something to happen.
You got Doggett wide to the near side at the top. Frizzell's in the slot. Just caught his second touchdown pass of the year. And Mike Bowman split wide to the top. Toss sweep. Now on the reverse again to Doggett. Doggett's going to run all the way back to the goal line. Throw the left-handed pass to Donnie J. He slipped down at the 20-yard line. Doggett ran all the way into the end zone. Throws it with the left hand. Donnie J. slips down. It was going to be one of those Von Trell to Doggett. Doggett's going to go airborne. Donnie J., however, could not keep his footing.
Well, I tell you, Doggett does a good job of avoiding the defensive end who had actually stayed home. And Doggett throwing the ball left-handed, rolling to his left. It was actually a well-designed play to take advantage of the skills of both those guys. He just tossed the ball a little bit behind Donnie J.
Boy, we're reaching into the grab bag of tricks. Halloween was yesterday, but lots of trick-or-treat on this first day of November. 13 all, Blazers and Statesmen. 9:18 to play in the first half. Donnie Johnson goes to Carlton Nelson, the fullback. Another good run for him up to the 25-yard line. The Statesmen bring him down at that point. Making the stop for the Green Hats is Rory Bell, the 185-pound junior from New Orleans, Louisiana.
Well, Mike, we've seen both versions of that reverse now, handing it off to Von Trell and the underhand shuttle pass, and I like the shuttle pass a little bit better. It seems to be a much better transition of handing the ball off, and we can get Eric Doggett's skills heading north and south.
I agree. Winston Williams, the fine wide receiver, another freshman into the football game, split wide to the near side. Von Trell is in the backfield. Got John Taylor in the slot on the far side. Going to hand off this time to Nelson again. Nelson's going to use that great leg strength and take it to the 28-yard line and will be a Blazer first down.
Well, Mike, they've come in and Valdosta State has again made some adjustments. They're not in a 4 wide receiver set, but only in a 3, and it looks like by spreading Delta State out before with that previous formation, they've been able to gain some room between the tackles in order to hammer the ball at Delta State the way they'd like to do.
Boy, Gullius really looks big down there on that O-line. 6'7", 318-pound sophomore from Cocoa, Florida. John Gullius for the Blazers of Mike Kelly. 1st and 10 for Valdosta State at the 28-yard line. The option to Von Trell, going to catch it at the 25 and cut it upfield, but he'll be knocked down right at the line of scrimmage. They played it very, very well. Making the stop is Rory Bell again.
Well, Mike, if you're a guy for Valdosta State and a coach, you got to like that play. We got Von Trell locked in one-on-one situation there, and Von Trell not really doing a lot to elude that first defender and make him miss. That's all you can ask for as a player. Get me in a one-on-one situation, and I'll win that battle right there. We've had Von Trell there 2 or 3 times today, and he has really not been able to make that first defender miss.
2nd and 10 for the Flame Red and Black. We got a 13-all tie with Delta State. Under center, Donnie J. going to hand off to Von Trell. Von Trell in the quick hitter takes it to the 35-yard line. Picks up 6 on the play. It'll be 3rd and 4 for the Blazers at their own 35-yard line in a 13-all tie.
Well, Mike, that time they did split Carlton Nelson out. Had 4 wide receiver look going that time and handed the ball right off left tackle to Von Trell. Von Trell heading north and south, and the free safety makes the tackle one-on-one once again.
How many yards did Von Trell have at the end of the first quarter?
Well,
not many, I wouldn't think.
No, we only had 7 yards as an offense, so he didn't have many.
Von Trell Mitchell, the leading rusher on the season for the Flame Red and Black. Under 7 minutes to play in the half. Going to give it to Von Trell again, straight ahead to the 40, to the 45. Burst out to the 49-yard line. First down, Valdosta State University.
Well, you heard Mike Kelly talk at the end of last game, Mike. He had given the ball to Von Trell Mitchell 25 times, and Von Trell has turned into a workhorse the last 2 weeks. They've found a set now where they can get some mismatches against the Delta State defense, and Von Trell's just heading north and south. Von Trell just stepped out. Looks like Wendell Olden's going to come into the game.
Von Trell Mitchell, the 5'10", 188-pound junior from Gainesville, Florida. Valdosta State has only 5 senior starters on this entire football team. Going to hand off this time to Olden. Olden at the 50, going to dance to the outside, and he creeps along the ground there to about the 47-yard line. Wendell Olden. He had some great games earlier. Had a fantastic game up at Fort Valley State in the 10-0 Valdosta State University victory. Marcus Ray also had a good night. We haven't seen Marcus in about 3 weeks.
And I tell you, this is a game where I think Marcus could be a force to reckon with, Mike, because when you can take the ball and head north and south, then, boy, it seems to cause problems for Delta State.
And Delta State agrees with that assessment because they have just called a timeout. We'll take a timeout as well. A 60-second network break coming your way on the Blazer Sports Network. Delta State University head coach Todd Knight has taken a second consecutive timeout. How do you figure that, Carl Parker?
I don't know. They're bringing the water jugs out. I don't know if they're going to credit them with having taken a timeout or not, but evidently they are. Todd Knight and his staff are out here and they're talking to their staff, and they've charged a second timeout.
6:04 to play in the half. What do you got on that VSU offensive formation?
Well, we were talking a little bit about it with Matt Dunnigan last week, and one of the things that we saw in the Fort Valley game was when they put all their speed guys in, they called it little twins, and they split their receivers way out to the wide side, both sides of the field, and spread the defense out. We haven't seen it since Fort Valley State, and I remember asking Matt Dunnigan, well, do you still have that in there? And he said, I like to keep as many bullets in my holster as I can. And they've practiced that play or practiced that formation and certain plays out of it for the 6 weeks we've had in between Fort Valley State, and now it's come into play. It's been a added addition that really has helped Valdosta State here in the second half, or in the first half.
Winston Williams split wide to the near side. Frizzell in the slot on the near side. Got two receivers at the top. Vontrell is the lone setback. DJ is under center. Chin Grove's going to snap the ball, and Donnie Johnson looks to the near side. He's got Frizzell. He's inside Statesman territory. The 40 going to dive to the 35-yard line. Lots of extra effort by the freshman that time. It'll be 1st and 10, Valdosta State.
Mike, when you run that formation, one thing you certainly have to do is show that you're willing to step up and throw the ball out to those receivers. And Donnie Johnson did exactly that. Dennis Frizzell making the catch and getting extra yards after the catch.
5:54 to play in the first half of the football game. 13-13, Valdosta State and Delta State. Donnie Johnson's got this team on the move once again. 1st and 10 at the 35-yard line. Ball's on the near side hash, headed to the right end. The Blazers led 7-0. Then we're trailing. Now we're going to throw out to the far side to John Taylor. Incomplete. He hadn't turned completely around, and the pass hit him. He got one hand on it, but not two hands. Defending on the play for Delta State University that time was Chad Huff, the cornerback, 175-pound senior from Hurley, Mississippi.
One of the things that Donnie Johnson's going to have to learn to do, Mike, is he has to scan the field from side to side. Both of those outside linebackers are creeping on the inside as he progresses in his cadence. And if Donnie can get a good look and see which one comes, then he can throw to the open receiver on the side that the defender comes from.
One of the VSU backups, Daniel Allen, talking to his mom there, and he's trying to get involved in a football game, and his mom says, hey, I forgot to tell you, I'll send some sandwiches next time in the care package from home. Donnie Johnson in the shotgun. Now he's in big trouble. He'll be knocked down at the 43-yard line. Knocking him down at twin set of fours again was Bobby Parnell.
Bobby Parnell coming off the inside slot, meaning John Taylor was a receiver where he came from, and Donnie Johnson able to look at it and see him. Evidently, there's some sort of what they call a break-off, a hot route, where the receiver is supposed to stop and give it to him. Donnie's a little upset with John because John didn't catch the read, and really Donnie had nowhere to go with the ball.
Under 5 minutes to play in the first half. At halftime, we'll look around the league. We'll update you on any scores that we have. We're really looking at that Central Arkansas big game today against North Alabama. We'll try to get a score on that one. 13-all here, Valdosta State and Delta State. Olden in motion, rolling left. Donnie Johnson wants to throw. Over the middle, got a man going to catch the ball at the 35. It's Mike Bowman going to take it to the 34-yard line, and it will be actually about a 7-yard pickup, but it'll bring up 4th and 9 for Valdosta State.
Well, Mike, you're looking at what would be about a 51-yard field goal, and we've gone here. We're going to get an attempt here for Jamie Lightfoot. If you recall, our last kickoff, we went to Paul McCall, and Lightfoot going to have a chance to redeem himself here and see if he's pulled himself together.
Lightfoot, 3 out of 6 on field goals this year. He hit a 52-yarder. That is not the longest in Blazer history. This will be a 52-yarder, so he'll try to tie that. The ball's held at the 42-yard line by Donnie Johnson. Let's see if the snap is a good one. The left footer's going to put it up, and it looks good from here. It hit the upright on the right side. It had tons of leg, but it hit the upright on the right side. It could have been a 60-yarder, folks, if it had not hit the upright on the right side and bounced away. And the crowd, you heard them gasp there, and they give Jamie Lightfoot a great hand as, oh so close to kicking his second 52-yarder of the year.
And Mike, as you called it, plenty of room on that, and it just hit the upright, even a fraction to the left, and it's going to kick over there and land over there where my boys are sitting in the bleachers.
But as it is, it won't score any points for the Flame Red and Black. We still have a 13-all tie. Here's Delta State, takes over again on offense. They're going to throw out to the far side. Snagged down and brought down Brad Trout, the pass catcher. Thought he was going to sneak away from Trout, but Trout said, oh, no, I'm going to reel in this guy. And he knocked him down right at the 35-yard line. Only a 1-yard pickup on the play.
Great job that time, as you said, by Brad Trout of holding on, and it's hard to figure. Now, Kershaw, first down the last 2 series, has come out throwing the ball after Tregnell Thomas has been able to get something going on the ground.
Valdosta State University's Black Swarm kind of warming to the task right now. Let's see what Kershaw's got in mind. Got Treg Thomas back there. He's always a weapon. Going to hand off to Tregnell, and he's going to take it across the 40 to the 42-yard line. Picks up 7 on the play. It'll be 3rd and about 3. Well, make it 3rd and about 2. Let's see where they spot the football. Right at the 42-yard line. Clock's running in the first half. 3 minutes to play in the half. 13-all tie.
Well, a good job that time by the Delta State offensive line of getting some push. The guys from Valdosta State going to have to hold their ground a little bit more in there. We're looking at 3rd and 2. It's going to be a big play right here for the Black Swarm defense.
Let's see if they can hold them. They've already tossed a couple of shutouts this year. The all-time record is 2. They could break it if they tossed another one. Won't be this afternoon. They're going to give it to Tregnell. He'll take it across the 45 for the first down to the 46-yard line.
Excellent job by Thomas. It looked like he was going to be tackled in the backfield by Brad Trout, who had penetrated about 2 yards deep in the backfield. Tregnell Thomas gets tripped up at his feet, puts his hand down, regains his balance, and is able to get a first down after the initial contact, Mike.
Antonio Speed is the man who made the stop for Mark Nelson's Valdosta State University defense. 2.5 minutes to play in the half. 13-all. Valdosta State, Delta State. The Blazing Brigade getting ready for its final halftime performance of the year. Final home game of 1997. Here's Kershaw. Wants to throw the football. Got some time on the right side. Going to be caught at the 42-yard line of the Blazers. Going to take it down to the 37-yard line. Knew what to do with it after he caught it. Fresh set of downs for the guys from Cleveland, Mississippi. And making the catch is Hunter Caston, the 5'11", 190-pound sophomore from Lewin, Mississippi.
Well, Mike, Hunter Caston ran the same route on Von Clark. He just ran on Austin Harmon, what they call a deep comeback. And Delta State's able to protect the passer, and Caston's been wide open both times they ran it. Now you're looking at where that timeout, the 2 timeouts Delta State took, is going to hurt them.
At the 37-yard line, Delta State in action. Tregnell Thomas is going to burst right into the line, but he'll be stymied by his lineman and the VSU lineman at the 35-yard line. 1:45 to play in the half. 13-13, Valdosta State, Delta State.
Well, again, the clock is running. 1:39 to go. As we said, Delta State already taken 2 of their timeouts consecutively back-to-back, and generally coaches like to save that last timeout, Mike, in order to get their field goal team on the field before they kick.
86 seconds to play in the half. They're at the 30. They're going to mark it right at the 34-yard line of VSU. It'll be 2nd and 7 at the 34. Kershaw wants to throw. Down the field, got a man, cast it again, going to catch it and be knocked down at the 25-yard line. Should be another first down for Delta State. Let's see where they mark it.
Well, Mike, that's not the thing I'm sitting here nodding my head about. It looked like that the defender did a great job of pulling the receiver back in bounds and tackling him. And that time, the official stopped the clock when the receiver did not run out of bounds.
And it will be a first down for Delta State at the 27-yard line. 1:05 to play in the half. 13-13, Valdosta State, Delta State. But the Statesmen driving toward the goal line at the left end of your dial. Kershaw under center. 2 men in the backfield. Got a slot on the right side. 1 man wide to the left. Kershaw wants to throw again. You're going to be Tregnell Thomas out of the backfield. Going to bounce off a couple of people after he caught the ball and take it to the 20-yard line. Clock continues to run with 40 seconds to play. They're going to have to set up very, very quickly. Remember, they have only 1 timeout left.
Well, Mike, you're looking at 2nd and about 5 to go here in no-huddle offense.
And he'll spike the ball, and that will stop the clock. And did somebody call timeout? I think somebody might have signaled timeout. The water people are out there with 30 seconds to go in the half, and the timeout will be credited to who? Valdosta State. So we will take a break with a 13-all tie. We'll be back after this 30-second local break. This is the Blazers Sports Network.
Over 2 million acres of our wildlands burn each year, and hundreds of homes are lost as a result.
At least 50 homes were burned to the ground. Dozens more were damaged as fires raced through dense brush and steep canyons.
Flames don't know the difference between forest, rangelands, and homes. Learn how you can fireproof your home. For more information, contact your local fire protection agency, State Forestry Office, or the USDA Forest Service.
Carl, why would VSU call timeout in that situation?
Well, Mike, if it were 3rd and 5, I could see that being a very legitimate situation to call timeout. But what they're saying now is Valdosta State called timeout before the spike had occurred, so it's going to be 2nd and 5 now. Delta State still has their timeout left, and they're trying to get the right people on the field in order to make the plays and get in the right call to prevent Delta State from scoring.
2nd and 5 for the Statesmen at the 20-yard line of the Blazers. Kershaw is going to throw out to the right side. Got a man going to catch it, and then he pushed out of bounds at the 15-yard line. Hunter Caston is again the man who makes the grab for Delta State U.
Well, and then Caston is able to get out of bounds. Delta State's going to have the ball on the 15-yard line with 25 seconds left. And, again, they're going to take a couple of shots into the end zone here, get their field goal kicker on the field if they're not able to convert.
13-13, Valdosta State, Delta State, but the Green Hats from Cleveland, Mississippi, threatening to put one in the end zone right here. 15 yards away. Kershaw at quarterback. Valdosta State with a blitz. They're going to give to Treg Thomas. He was snagged in the backfield by who? Antonio Speed, and he'll be knocked down at the 10. Clock continues to run at 17, 16, 15. They're going to try to set up very, very quickly, and he will spike the ball with 9 seconds now to go in the first half. 13-13, and perhaps they bring their field goal kicker onto the field.
Mike, did we miss a timeout somewhere along the way? Because I'm thinking if you're Delta State, take your timeout. If you've got one left, take a shot into the end zone and then use your timeout. But evidently we must have missed one because they were grounding the ball.
Trey Agner will try for his second field goal of the afternoon. And Valdosta State will call a timeout to try to ice him a little bit, and we'll take a break on the Blazer Sports Network. Back after this 30-second network break.
We know we can count on you to do what Smokey says. Smokey says.
Only you.
No, you don't play with matches. That's not cool. Tell mom and dad to break them, stop them. Yeah, that's the rule.
And when your folks desire to build a fire, clear brush and branches away, and keep water nearby like you oughta. Did someone say otter?
We're all counting on you.
Only you can prevent forest fires.
Agner's hit 6 field goals on the year, as long as a 45. This will not be nearly that long. It'll be held at the 17-yard line. 27-yard attempt by Trey Agner with 9 seconds to go in the first half. He can break a 13-all tie. It's blocked by the Blazers. Valdosta State blocks the field goal, and then Antonio Speed comes in and knocks down Agner at the 23-yard line. Who'd you get on the block there,
I tell you what, they put Brad Trout. We saw it last year against North Alabama, what they call the middle jumper. Brad Trout was in the middle, jumped up, and Agner hit a low-line drive that Brad Trout got his hand on and knocked it away.
So that's the end of the first half from Bazemore Hyder Stadium, and a dramatic change of momentum as the Blazers block a field goal as time expires in the second quarter. At the half in Valdosta, Georgia, your score, Valdosta State 13, Delta State 13. We're going to be back for your halftime show here on the Blazer Sports Network after this 90-second local break.
Here he is, ladies and gentlemen. Looking gorgeous, handsome Hunkley, posing. Say a few words. Who are you? Look at this outfit.
If you don't stop someone from driving drunk, who will?
Say cut.
Do whatever it takes.
What else you want me to do?
The odds of your child touching the stars are out of this world. The chance she'll grow up to be a famous architect is somewhat more down to earth. But the chances are more than 1 in 4 your baby isn't fully protected against childhood diseases. Be sure his baby shots are on schedule. Ask your doctor at every visit. Give your child the chance to be whatever he wants, even if it's a rock star. Even if you're sure, ask again.
I haven't made up my mind yet. What are you going to take?
Algebra.
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 If no one's explained how algebra, geometry, and calculus can improve your future, demand that you be told. Call NACME. We'll tell you.
Valdosta State's got Doggett and Wendell Alden back at the 10-yard line. Here's the kickoff by the Statesmen. Second half action underway at Bazemore Hyder Stadium. Going to be taken by Olden at the 3, to the 5, to the 10, to the 15, to the 20. He'll be hit from behind at the 25-yard line and knocked forward to the 27. First and 10 Blazers at their own 27 to start the second half.
Mike, one thing about it, too, the wind seems to be a factor today. It seems to be gusting around, as well as the sun. That time, Wendell Olden caught that ball, and it looked like the sun was a big distraction. So those factors could come into play at the end of the game today.
The weather forecast earlier said 40% chance of rain, but we've had clear skies throughout with just a bit of a breeze. 75 degrees. Beautiful afternoon for football in November. 13-13, Valdosta State, Delta State. Twins on each side. One lone back in the backfield. That's Vontrell Mitchell. Donnie Johnson is your VSU quarterback. Donnie J, short drop, got the ball tipped at the line of scrimmage by the on-rushing lineman. The man who put a fingertip on it for the Green Hats from Cleveland, Mississippi that time was Keith Boone, the linebacker, the sophomore from Brandon, Mississippi.
Mike, that time, as you said, they call it little twins and came out splitting guys all the way out. Both receivers flanked as far out as they could go. And as we've talked about, if you're going to do that, you've got to be willing to throw that little short pass to the inside receiver. That time, Donnie J was trying to get the ball to Carlton Nelson, and it was tipped in the air.
Second and 10 for the Blazers at their own 26-yard line. Same offensive set. Vontrell, the lone setback behind Donnie Johnson. 4 down linemen for the Green Hats. Now they creep a couple of linebackers. They're going to send them. Quick pass this side to Bowman's going to catch it at the 30 and take it to the 33-yard line. Some tough yardage there. Making the tackle is Chad Huff, the cornerback from Hurley, Mississippi.
Well, a great job, too. Rather than throw it to the inside receivers, that time they simply popped the ball out to Mike Bowman, who was the outside receiver, and Carlton Nelson was able to pick up the block in front of him. We picked up 7 or 8 yards, and it's going to be a convertible third down here with 3rd and 2 or 3.
Valdosta State had won 5 games in a row against Delta State until last year's 34-28 upset out in Cleveland, Mississippi. Blazers were ranked number 1 in the nation at the time. 3rd and 3 for VSU. Going to give to Carlton Nelson. He's going to bang into the line and be stopped immediately at the 34-yard line. He will not get the first down.
Well, Carlton, who generally does a great job of pushing forward and keeping his feet churning, that time began to move laterally, and once he did, the pursuit from Delta State really stuffed him backwards.
Wayne Devane has punted only once this afternoon, but he'll get a chance to put toe to football right here.
Well, again, the sun is actually going to be at the back of the returner here, so should not be a factor here, and Wayne is punting into the wind.
Tim Evans is back at the 20-yard line. Devane puts it up end over end, short kick, and takes a bad roll for VSU and going out of bounds at the 40-yard line.
Not all that bad, Mike. Once again, as I said, a pretty stiff wind in his face, and Wayne does a good job of trying to keep the ball low. It just did not take a favorable bounce for us.
We'll pause for station ID. This is the Blazers Sports Network.
BLD Valdosta.
13-13, Delta State, Valdosta State. The ball's going to be sitting at the 41-yard line of the Statesmen. They'll be headed to the right end of your dial. Same offensive set, going to pitch to Tregnell Thomas at the 40 to the 45-yard line. Treg's going to pick up 4 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 6 at the Delta State 45. Ball's on the far side hash.
Well, Mike, the first 5 minutes of the second half of any game actually determine a lot of what happens the rest of the game. Delta State came in that time, bunched things down, ran the toss sweep, as I had talked about earlier in the second half, where they seemed to have Valdosta State outflanked. And that time, Brad Trout stepped up and made the tackle, but still a 5-yard game for Tregnell Thomas.
12:54 to play in the third quarter, 13-13. 2nd and 6 for Delta State University. Looking to hand off now. He bumps it once, looks down the field. Got a man there. Going to be incomplete at the 25-yard line. Trying to get it into the hands of Clifton Shavers. Had 3 VSU defenders down there on the play, including Vaughn Clark.
Well, Mike, Shavers is their big play guy, has 4 touchdown passes this year, and Vaughn Clark simply had him blanketed. They tried what we call a double move. They faked an out and threw the up, and Vaughn did a great job of just staying with Shavers and not biting on anything.
12:39 to play in the 3rd quarter of the football game. Blazers on the road for the next 2 weeks. Carl and I will be in Conway, Arkansas next Saturday afternoon. 2 o'clock with a pregame, 2:30 with a kickoff. Under center, 1 man in the backfield. Going to give to Treg Thomas. He'll be tackled back at the 40-yard line. Great pursuit that time by David Fox. He was in there, and oh my, Treg Thomas had nowhere to go.
Well, Mike, that was one of those, I think, situations where Valdosta State has learned what Delta State wants to do. 3rd and 5 that time. Most people think you want to go back and throw the football. They spread people out, try to give the ball off to Treg Nell, and David Fox does a great job of penetrating in there. Almost took the handoff.
Here's the punt by Greg Rudolph, and Valdosta State's going to send Eric Doggett back. We try almost to block the punt, but it's a great-looking punt. And Doggett's going to let it roll, and boy, does it take a Delta State roll down the far sideline, and finally it goes out of bounds right around the 6-yard line. Beautiful punt by Rudolph. He's really backed the Blazers up. Got to hang on to the football. We've already tossed it into the end zone one time this afternoon, had to cover it up, and they got a safety out of it. 13-13, Delta State, Valdosta State.
Well, Mike, 2 things that were definitely a factor in that punt, and we've alluded to them both. Eric Doggett looking right up into the sun, obviously didn't want to risk fielding that ball. And then secondly, the wind was at the punter for Delta State's back, and field position has certainly favored Delta State here. The offense is going to have to try to establish something here and try to generate a drive that may go the distance.
11:56 to go in the 3rd quarter. Valdosta State in a 13-all deadlock with the Delta State University Statesmen. Donnie J's got Vontrell lined up in the end zone. Again, the twin set. 2 receivers on each side of the O-line. Going to hand off to Vontrell. Wants to go straight ahead. Going to take it near the 9-yard line. Ball's loose, and Delta State says they have recovered it, and they have. The Statesmen going to recover the Vontrell Mitchell fumble. It will be Green Hat football down at the 7-yard line of the Blazers.
Well, Mike, that time Vontrell took the handoff and actually got hit as he took it. The ball went down to his hip, and Vontrell does a good job of pulling it back up in, but obviously not able to tuck it away again the second time, and Delta State knocks it out.
Valdosta State had surrendered, had lost 6 fumbles coming into the football game, but that is very, very costly right there. Kershaw is going to try to lead his offense into the end zone, only 7 yards away. 11:49 to play in the 3rd quarter. Crucial point of the football game right here in a 13-all tie. Kershaw, 1 wide out on the right side, going to hand off to Treg Thomas. Thomas at the 5, into the end zone, touchdown, Delta State. Treg Thomas takes it in there, no flags anywhere, so just like that, a 1-play, 7-yard drive after the Vontrell Mitchell fumble puts the Statesmen back on top. 19-13, the guys from Cleveland, Mississippi have shocked the Blazers so far.
Well, I tell you, Tregnell Thomas just goes off tackle and hits it hard and does a good job of keeping his legs moving, and gets in the end zone.
Agner's going to try the PAT with the right foot. It's up, and it is good. Delta 20, Valdosta State 13. Back for more after this 90-second local break.
Why would anybody give someone they don't know a gift? They do it because this gift saves lives. And the need for it is desperate. We need over 20,000 people to give this precious gift every day. Please give blood. There's a life to be saved right now. Call the American Red Cross at 1-800-GIVE-LIFE.
Adam has a disease that's making him tired, stunting his growth, and breaking down his immune system. A disease affecting over 12 million children. A disease that's totally curable. It's called hunger. Second Harvest is America's food bank network. Just call your local food bank to help.
Neil Bartling's kickoff bounces into the end zone, so for the second time in a row, it'll be 1st and 10 Blazers right at the 20-yard line. 11:40 to go in the third quarter. 20-13, Delta State on top. Delta State hasn't won a game all year. They're hungry for victory. Will they get it this afternoon? Donnie Johnson rolls left, throws it down the field. Got Frizzell going to catch it at the 28, take it to the 30-yard line. It will be a Valdosta State first down.
Well, Valdosta State comes back in, and rather than spread everybody out, they go to the traditional three-receiver set. Roll Donnie out a little bit to his left, who finds Dennis Frizzell, the inside slot receiver. Has had a pretty good day thus far, running just a little out route there, picking up 10 yards a pop.
And let's see where they put the football down. They haven't put it down yet. He got across the 30-yard line, but they're going to put him at the 29.5, so it'll be 2nd and inches for Valdosta State. Got a little touch football game going over on the corner there. Boy, that's what Saturday afternoons in the fall. Yeah, it's probably your guys over there, Carl. Under center is Donnie J. Got Carlton Nelson in motion. Vontrell the lone setback. Straight ahead goes Johnson for the first down. He's smashed by the defensive front of Delta State, but he got the first down before he got pushed back. So it will be a first down for the Blazers. And BSU fresh set it down to the 31-yard line. 11:23 to play in the third period. BSU trailing 20-13.
Well, they gave him the first down, Mike, but he was well over the 31-yard line, and they pulled the ball back a good yard and a half just with the nose on the 30. Not very good execution on the parts of the officials.
Not at all. Bowman's going to come wide to the near side. At the top, Frizzell's in the slot. Winston Williams, another freshman. You got two freshman receivers there. Carlton Nelson in motion. Donnie Johnson under center. Vontrell, lone setback. Toss sweep to Vontrell. He slipped just a bit, but he got it to the outside, stepped out of bounds right at the 34-yard line is where he's going to go out of bounds. It will be 2nd down and 7 yards to go for the Blazers.
I tell you, Vontrell a couple of times looked like he could have tried to stay in bounds and burrow his shoulder up and get more yards, but he seems more intent, almost like he cannot plant on his feet and turn the ball upfield. He probably could have gained a good 3 yards. There was no one there to put a hat on him, even by falling forward and laying the ball ahead.
Remember, Vontrell this year's already had a dislocated shoulder. It cost us a couple of games with him, and he's got a dislocated thumb. And he's still out there this afternoon. Costly fumble on the last possession of Valdosta State. Donnie J's going to change the play at the line of scrimmage. Motion man is Nelson. Going to roll right. Look to throw the ball down the field. Now he wants to run out of it. Here come the Statesmen. They'll knock him down at the 27-yard line.
Looks like it's a fumble too, Mike.
And they uncover the pile, and hopefully one of the black shirts is going to jump on the football, and they will. It'll be VSU football. Still with the football, but oh my, Donnie Johnson's holding that right arm. He is hurt. Immediately, we're going to send the freshman, Patrick Pruitt, into the game, the 6'1", 188-pound freshman from Orlando, Florida. His right arm is hurt. What do you got, Carl?
Well, it looks like when he was rolling out there, someone came back and hit it, and Patrick Pruitt's going to have to come in on a 3rd and 14 here, a big play right off the bat.
Pruitt has thrown for 2 touchdown passes this year, saw brief action in one game. 10:15 to play in the third. Motion man is Vontrell. Pruitt is going to roll left, look to throw the ball down the field, right over the middle. Carlton Nelson at the 30, 35, 40, 45, midfield, first down, Valdosta State. And the little freshman comes in and throws the dart throw, and Nelson takes it for a flame red and black first down.
An excellent call by Matt Dunnigan. We talked about it. Flow seemed to be going to the wide side of the field with everyone sprinting on the rollout pass, and they run the little shuttle pass back inside. Carlton Nelson sneaks in there, and Delta State over pursues.
Donnie Johnson sitting on the end of the metal bleacher just inside the fence here at Bazemore Hyder Stadium with lots of trainers around him. First down, Valdosta State at midfield. 9:51 to play in the third quarter. 20-13, Delta State in the lead. Two receivers on each side. Vontrell, the lone setback. The little freshman, Pruitt, under center. Only the second game he's played in all season. He goes straight ahead, going to dive to the 45-yard line. Looked like a busted play, but he's actually going to pick up 5 yards on it.
Mike, I think that was a pre-called quarterback sneak. They run Vontrell in the motion out of the backfield and leave an empty set, and the linebacker moves, so he runs up forward for a little quarterback draw, gains 5 yards on it.
Pruitt, 7 out of 12, no interceptions for 108 yards and 2 touchdowns in earlier action prior to this moment. And so far, he's gained positive yardage on each of his 2 plays. It'll be 2nd and 5 for the Flame Red and Black at the 46-yard line of Delta State. Blazers down by 7 points with 9 minutes to play in the third. He dropped the football, going to fall and cover it at the 47. Did not get the snap from Gingro and had to fall on it at the 47-yard line. He lost 2. It'll be 3rd and 7 for VSU.
Well, Mike, that's one of the things that goes along with having an inexperienced freshman quarterback in the game. You can't afford in these type situations to lose plays with a no-yard gain. And Patrick's going to have to stay within himself, not try to win the game, but actually try to do what he can to help the team win the game.
6'1", 188 pounds from Orlando, Florida. A lot of pressure on the youngster here. 3rd and 7. They creep in those outside people. Pruitt's going to look down the line. Looks like he may be changing the play. Vontrell is the lone setback. Going to hand off. He ran into Vontrell. Mitchell, and they'll collide back at the 48-yard line. And then the Green Hats were there to make sure he didn't get up. Bobby Parnell makes the tackle. So the Blazers will kick it away.
Well, Mike, you wonder about that. Remember earlier in the game where Donnie Johnson did the exact same thing in the exact same set? It looked like both of them ran together, and the path of the receiver or the path of the running back oftentimes can be thrown off by the quarterback. Both of them have got to have the right meeting point.
Donnie Johnson still at the end of the bench as Wayne Devane comes in to punt it away. Very high, great kick. It's going to go out of bounds down at right at about the 12, 13-yard line. Great kick by Wayne Devane.
Boy, I tell you, he turned that ball over, Mike, a good 60 yards in the air, and it went out of bounds right at the 13-yard line with no return. So a terrific job by Wayne Devane.
Valdosta State down 20-13. Maybe the Black Swarm can make something happen here on the defensive side of the football.
Well, and it's been a situation of ball control and field position, too. You look at the turnover Valdosta State had in the first half, and then the Valdosta State turnover in the second half that was converted. So most of the time they've been mistakes at the wrong end of the field.
Yes, they have. Mike Kershaw, the quarterback, going to stay on the ground out of the backfield to the 16-yard line. And the Black Swarm going to push him back right there.
The Black Swarm's going to be faced with one thing right now, Mike, and that is stop Tregnell Thomas, because since the second half has started here, Delta State has handed the ball to Tregnell Thomas off tackle and just said, here, run the football, much like Tregnell did against Valdosta State last year.
Tregnell, 126 carries, 559 yards, and 3 touchdowns coming into the football game. He terrorized us as a freshman last year. Will he beat us again as a sophomore? Hang on to your hats, Blazer fans. 7 minutes to go in the third quarter. VSU down by 7 points, and Delta State has the football. Kershaw rolls right, wants to throw back across the field. Got a man wide open. The tight end at the 35 to the 40, 45. Well, he's going to be knocked out of bounds right at the 42-yard line. Great play, threw it back across the field. The tight end waiting on the football. Nobody within zip code distance of him when he caught the football.
Well, it looks like somebody got faked out of coverage that time. The tight end acted like he was going to block. It was a little play-action pass. Austin Harmon made the tackle that time, and his shoulders dinged up, and he's coming to the sideline too. I see Donnie Johnson down there throwing a little bit.
Yes, he is, trying to exercise that arm, and he's throwing there, warming up with Wayne Devane. It'll be a fresh set of downs for Delta State University at the 43-yard line of DSU. Toss sweep to Tregnell Thomas. Tregnell's going to bow his head and take it to the 45-yard line. Picks up 3 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 7 at the Statesmen 45-yard line. Clock's running in the third quarter. 6 minutes, 10 seconds to play. Statesmen 20, Blazers 13.
Mike, that time Brad Trout did a great job of meeting that lead blocker about 2 yards in the backfield. It disrupted things enough, and pursuit from the Black Swarm was there in order to stop Tregnell for only about a 2-yard gain, which he's generally been getting about 5 to 6 on that play.
They've lost 10 fumbles this year. They've thrown 13 interceptions so far. They've done a good job of holding on to it this afternoon, except for the opening play. Going to throw to the tight end again. Same play, far side, works again. 30, 25, out of bounds at the 24-yard line. VSU gets burned by the tight end once again.
Mike, that actually was a fullback who had slipped out of the backfield and slid into the flats. They were able to pick him up. The tight end had actually drugged through the middle of the field and pulled off all the linebackers, and they got caught up in the traffic. The fullback slipped out, and they were able to get it up to him.
How does this team go 8-7 games without winning a game? I tell you, these guys can play, and they're fired up about playing on this November afternoon. They lead at 20-13 over the Blazers. 5:40 to go in the third. 1st and 10. They're going to give to Tregnell Thomas. Thomas going to be at the 20. Going to take it near the 15-yard line. A yard shy of the first down. They got old man Mo riding on their bandwagon now.
I tell you, and Tregnell Thomas, when he gets that ball, heads north and south. Jamal Stevens did a great job of coming up from his safety position and putting a pop on Thomas that time.
VSU been rocked back on its heels. 2nd and 1 for Delta State. They're going to mark it at the 14-yard line of Valdosta State. Ball's on the far side hash. Delta State with a football and a 20-13 lead with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Going to hand off to Tregnell. He dives over the pile for the first down to the 12-yard line. 1st and 10, Delta State at the 12 of the Flame Red and Black.
Well, as you said, old man Mo seems to be going in favor of Delta State. Valdosta State defense going to have to stand up and do a job and at least just hold them to a field goal here, because as things have come thus far in the last few weeks, Mike, when Valdosta State gets to trail them by more than a touchdown, it seems to be catch-up time for them, and that's not where they're at their best.
4:45 and counting in the third quarter. Second half has been all Delta State. Kershaw wants to look into the end zone. Got a man there. Going to catch it at the, they say it was out of bounds at the 3. He caught the ball out of bounds, so Kershaw had a good idea. And again, that fullback circling out of the backfield, as happened on the last play. He was wide open over there, but he caught the ball out of bounds.
Well, Mike, you heard Mike Kelly talk about it in the pregame, that one of the reasons Tregnell Thomas's numbers aren't up is because they've been in a situation where they've been behind, and they've had to rely on Kershaw throwing the ball. Thus far, it looks like with this game going the way it is, they've got the liberty to give him the ball and take control of the clock, and the Valdosta State defense is going to have to stop him.
2nd and 10 for the Statesmen at the 11. On the end around on the far side, somebody's going to come up and get him. Nobody will. Touchdown, Delta State. On the end around, Rodney Peterson works it to perfection, and Delta State has gone 2 scores ahead of the Flame Red and Black. 26-13. The winless Statesmen right now look to be headed for a win in Wintersville.
Well, that time all the pursuit to Tregnell Thomas, everyone over pursuing, and they bring the slot back from the right-hand side and get the over pursuit on the reverse for a touchdown.
Trey Agner will try to kick the PAT. It is up, and it is good. Delta State University, 27, Valdosta State, 13. Back for more from Bazemore Hyder Stadium after the 60-second network break.
Be cool about fire safety.
Who are you?
See more smoke. Smoke detector. The more smoke I see, the more noise I make. And I see more smoke coming from that toaster.
Thanks for warning us, Seymour.
That's my job. I hate smoke. It's disgusting. It gives me a headache. So whenever I see it or smell it, I make this noise to warn you. 'Cause where there's smoke, there may be fire.
Good tip, Seymour.
How many smoke detectors do you have in your home? Count them. Is there one outside your bedroom? There should be. Tell your parents.
Be cool about fire safety. Be cool.
What do you got on that Delta State touchdown drive, Carl Parker?
Mike, they go 87 yards in 7 plays. They have a couple of dump passes for big yardage, and then the reverse for a touchdown by Peterson. 27-13.
And there was a late hit on Valdosta State on the extra point. They tack it on to the kickoff. They'll actually kick off from the 50-yard line. Doggett and Olden standing back at the 5. He should easily boot it into the end zone. Let's see what he does. And that's what he's going to do. First and 10 at the 20 for Valdosta State. Does Donnie Johnson come out, or do we still see Patrick Pruitt?
Looks like they're going to go back with Donnie Johnson here. Donnie's going to have to come up there. Actually, Valdosta State still got plenty of time to stick with their game plan here. Got 4 minutes to go in the third quarter, down by 2 scores. If they can put a drive together here, come back within a touchdown, the defense can do its job, and Valdosta State can execute, its game plan at this point. They don't have to come up and make a wholesale change, Mike.
27-13, Delta State. We'll try to get a score on that North Alabama game for you. Just heard a partial score on the PA there. We'll try to get it for you. Donnie J back in there. Valdosta State, first and 10 at his own 20-yard line. Johnson throws it down the field. Going to be picked off by Delta State at the 30, 25, 20, 15. Knocked out of bounds at the 10-yard line. Johnson comes back, and he's immediately picked off by Rory Bell. And again, the Statesmen poised for glory at the Valdosta State into the field. And, boy, they're celebrating in Cleveland, Mississippi.
Well, Valdosta State actually came with a whole brand new set of receivers that time, Mike, because Cooksey was in the game along with Carlos Hope. It looked like Winston Williams, and they tried to throw the ball down the pipe to Vontrell Mitchell, who had snuck out of the backfield, but the ball hung in the air so long that the free safety could break on it. That's exactly what he did.
Bell's going to actually return it to the 9-yard line. So Delta State, as Carl said earlier, has had excellent field position all afternoon. 9 yards away from taking a 3-touchdown advantage over the Blazers. Going to hand off to Treg Thomas. He's going to be hit in the backfield back at the 14-yard line. We wrap him up very, very well. And one of the first guys around the football, Mark Lyles that time, the sophomore from Tampa, Florida.
Well, I tell you, you're seeing some new faces in there now, Mike, too, because this Valdosta State defense has been on the field for quite some time, and sure, that's going to begin to wear on them if they can't get Delta State stopped here on a 3-and-out. We can't allow them to put anything together for a large number of plays.
3:43 to go in the third quarter. Blazers trailing 27-13. Delta State's going to lose about 5 on the play. Kershaw wants to throw into the end zone. There's a man there, going to not catch the ball, could not run it down. The VSU defender, Vaughn Clark, had fallen down at the goal line, but following it all the way that time and trying to go into the end zone and catch it was Hunter Caston, but the ball was just out of his fingertips.
Huge play here now. We got 3rd and about 15, it looks like, and Delta State's going to have to get in the end zone. They cannot get a first down. I wish our band started striking it up the way Southern Arkansas did last week.
I was thinking about the same thing. The Mule Rider Band, every time Valdosta State was about to snap the ball, they really played the band very loud. Got a new quarterback in there. He'll be dragged down at the 23-yard line. Oh, what a play. And there it is, Shad Freeman with a record-tying sack of the quarterback. They put in Clifton Shavers for the second time at quarterback. And Freeman brought him down back there. That'll be his 14th of the season, and he ties the Antonio Edwards record for sacks in a season.
Looks like we got about a 37-yard field goal going to be tried here, Mike.
Trey Agner will try to drill a 37-yarder. The hold will be by Chad Huff. The snap is a good one. The kick is, they fake it. Huff's going to roll to the right, and he'll be knocked down at the 20-yard line. They try to fake it. It doesn't work. Oh, my. Todd Knight rolls the dice and comes up empty as Huff. The Blazers played it absolutely perfectly, and it'll be Blazer football. And even after getting it down at the 9-yard line with a 1st and goal, they come up with 0 points.
Why do that, Mike? You're sitting here looking at it. The fact is he's got to go 30 yards to get into the end zone. Just touchdown or nothing. At that point, you go up by 3 scores. Great job by the Valdosta State defense.
That is incredible because Agner certainly had the leg to kick it. They got Patrick Pruitt in there. Donnie J's on the bench. The freshman is back in there. Pruitt's going to hand off on the inside, and he takes it to the 22-yard line. That time carrying the football is John Taylor for the Blazers. Picks up maybe 2 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 8 at the 22-yard line. 2:31 to go in the third quarter. Blazers down 27-13, but I think a huge tactical error on the part of Todd Knight on the fake field goal.
And if anything, Valdosta State's got to put together something of a drive, even if they don't get points here, in order to keep the defense off the field. They've been there most of the third quarter, Mike.
Pruitt's going to look down the line. Got two wideouts on the right side, one on the left, but he's going to hand off to Vontrell in the open field. 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Knocked down at the 5-yard line. Vontrell Mitchell.
Looks like we got a penalty, but I think it's going to go against Delta State. It's all the way back at the line of scrimmage.
There is a flag down at the 23. Vontrell Mitchell just zipped from his own 22 down to the 5-yard line of the Statesmen.
Personal foul against Delta State.
Late hit against the Statesmen. So that'll go half the distance to the goal from the 5. Oh, my, what a play by Vontrell.
I tell you, that time, Mike, too, Delta State was in an all-out blitz. They gave the ball to Vontrell, who busted the first seam, and when he did, there was no one there except the guys in coverage on the receivers, and they were trying to chase Vontrell at that time.
68-yard run by Vontrell Mitchell, and now half the distance because of the late hit. The Blazers in touchdown territory with 1:56 to go in the third quarter, trailing 27-13. Patrick Pruitt, the freshman in there, engineering the Flame red and black offense. Donnie Johnson was hurt earlier, went out for a series, came back in, threw an intercept, and now Pruitt, the freshman, is in there. Got Vontrell in the backfield. Going to hand off to Vontrell. He'll be knocked down at the 6-yard line.
Boy, somebody just got whooped at the line of scrimmage, Mike, because by the time Vontrell even got to the ball, somebody was in the backfield. They came that time, Valdosta State did, with the twins that we talked about. Two guys flanked to both sides of the field. Delta State was spread out pretty good, and Valdosta State had a good matchup inside, but it was just getting beat at the line of scrimmage that caused Valdosta State to lose 3 yards in.
Kevin Thomas made the stop back at this 5.5-yard line. 2nd and goal at the 5.5. John Taylor goes in motion. Vontrell's in the backfield. The freshman, Patrick Pruitt, toss sweep to Vontrell. Wants to cut it upfield. He'll be at the 4, but he'll be knocked back at that point. It'll be 3rd and goal at the 4. We'll pause for station ID. This is the Blazers Sports Network.
WVLD Valdosta.
45 seconds to go in the third quarter. The Blazers down 27-13. The ball resting right at the 5-yard line of the Statesmen on the far side hash, headed to the left into your dial. Valdosta State desperately needs a score on this possession. Pruitt, the freshman, in at quarterback, wants to throw into the end zone. There's Winston Williams. Touchdown! Valdosta State University! He threw the jump ball to the freshman, and he caught his first touchdown pass of the year. Winston Williams hauls it in, and the Blazers draw close at 27-19.
Great job that time by Pruitt of putting the ball up into the corner where Winston Williams could go up and catch it. And, boy, that has just been answering the call right there by the Valdosta State offense.
Third touchdown pass of the year for Patrick Pruitt. Here's Jamie Lightfoot with the PAT. Donnie Johnson will hold. The left footer will try to make it a 27-20 football game. The snap is a good one. The kick with the left foot is up and perfect. Valdosta State trails at 27-20 with 28 seconds to go in the third quarter. Back for more from Bazemore Hyder Stadium after this 30-second local break.
Someone once said, we all come into this world alone, and we leave the same way. But in between, we have the chance to connect and help each other, to find ways you can do something to connect with the people in your community. Call the Points of Light Foundation. Do something good. Feel something real.
Paul McCall was out on the field for the kickoff, and then Jamie Lightfoot came out there. And Lightfoot is going to be the man, obviously with a stronger leg. McCall kicked one earlier. But Lightfoot with that left leg is going to try to kick it down there. He was kicking it into the end zone earlier this season and didn't seem to be trying to place the football instead of just kicking it straight away. Let's see what he does here. 28 seconds to go in the third quarter. The Blazers have got these fans on their feet. This one is a deep, deep, deep boot. Going to be taken at the 3-yard line by Delta to the 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30-yard line and pulled down at the 30. 1st and 10 for the Statesmen At the 30-yard line, I go back to the Todd Knight decision on the fake field goal. You're up by 2 touchdowns. You can make it 2 touchdowns in a field goal, but you elect to go for the fake.
Well, Mike, not only that, but the fact that it was 4th and about 30, even if you do complete it and they get tackled short of the end zone, you're not going to come up with anything. It's going to be a turnover. The ball's going to go over on downs.
Mike Kershaw facing this black swarm defense, and the crowd starting to stomp these aluminum bleachers. Kershaw being chased, going to throw it down the field, going to be incomplete at the 40-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 10 back at the 30. 10 seconds to go in the third quarter. 27-20, Delta State over Valdosta State.
Well, Mike, that play hurt Valdosta State in the 2 previous drives and actually had the receiver wide open again, but Valdosta State came with the inside blitz, was able to put some pressure on Kershaw, or else they'd had a big play once again. So somebody's got to lock up in coverage on that tight end.
Tremaine Neal motions for the crowd to get into it. Here's Kershaw under center. Slot on the near side, and now Valdosta State's defensive front rises up and taps the center on the helmet. Somebody must have made a move, and it will be a 5-yard penalty against Delta State University. Illegal procedure against the Statesmen.
Mike, how many times have we seen Valdosta State do that this year and not get the call?
Yeah,
and I mean, I'm sitting here saying, if you're a guy on defense, don't make the call for the official play the game, because you don't know that you're going to get that. We have them in a great situation, 2nd and 10. You're going to make it 2nd and 5. That's where they want to be.
Now it's 2nd and 15.
Yeah.
And so it is a different situation, and you do hear the band, or the drummers of the band, in the background. And Kershaw under center. Kershaw onto the leg, going to give to Treg Thomas. Thomas on the outside to the 30, and he slipped down right at the 33-yard line. Actually, slipped down. There was no Blazer within 5 yards of him. That's going to be the end of the third quarter with your score. Delta State 27, Valdosta State 20. Will move ahead to a 90-second network break. Treg Thomas is stopped on a big third down play, and Valdosta State is going to get the ball back. And the crowd is on its feet at Bazemore Hyder Stadium as we begin fourth quarter action. Eric Doggett is going to be back. Low snap, but he gets it up and away. A high punt. And Doggett's going to let it bounce, and Delta State is going to grab it at the 41-yard line. Valdosta State University right now 59 yards away from tying this thing up, down 27-20.
Mike got a score. North Alabama in the second quarter leading Central Arkansas 21-0. So Valdosta State could jump up into that number 2 spot in the standings by themselves, or actually with Southern Arkansas, if we can win today.
Central Arkansas 4-1 in the league coming in. Valdosta State 4-1 in the league coming in. Of course, UNA is 3-2 in the league. Those losses inflicted by Southern Arkansas and VSU. Now we got the freshman in there. Can he engineer another touchdown drive to tie this thing up? Going to hand off. That's a good move to Carlton Nelson, and Nelson's going to take it to the 45-yard line. Picks up 4 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 6 for Valdosta State. We're in the fourth quarter. Blazers down 27-20 to Delta State.
Well, it's the first time we've seen Carlton Nelson into the backfield by himself. Usually that spot occupied by Vontrell Mitchell and Wendell Olden.
Up top, we got new receivers into the game. Carlos Hope is up there. Wendell Olden is up there. On the downside, Winston Williams and Keith Cooksey. In the backfield, you get Carlton Nelson. Looking at throw. Going to be caught by Cooksey at midfield. Should be very close to a first down.
Great job by Cooksey, because that ball was thrown a little bit out in front where the defender could jump on it, and Cooksey just cradled the ball in, and they're going to have to measure for the first down, looks like.
They're going to bring the sticks over from the far side and take a look at it. We will take a 30-second local break. This is the Blazer Sports Network.
George watched the goslings swim. And they swam, and they swam.
From birth to age 3 are the most important years in a child's brain development. The time that defines who they become.
baby.
They measure for the first down, and it is a fresh set of downs for the Flame Red and Black inside Statesman territory at the 49-yard line. Patrick Pruitt, the freshman quarterback for Valdosta State. Pruitt's going to hand off to Carlton Nelson. Nelson at the 45, to the 40, to the 35, to the 30, still on his feet at the 25-yard line. First down, Valdosta State. Lo and behold, Carlton Nelson on the move, and the Blazers headed goalward.
Mike, I talked about a little earlier that this could be a good Marcus Ray time heading north and south. Delta State keeps bringing guys off the corner, and as long as you hit that seam real quick in the middle, you're not going to get that penetration from the outside, which is what Valdosta State's done on both those big runs by Vontrell and Carlton.
Under 13 minutes to play in a football game. Blazers down 27-20. We're going to throw into the corner. Winston Williams is there, but he can't catch up with the football. Patrick Pruitt just leaned back and threw the jump ball into the corner of the end zone, but the long, lanky freshman could not catch up with it.
I tell you that we're going to have a penalty, and I see it looks like it's going to be defensive holding. Let's see what they call it, Mike. The flag's down. I still haven't seen a call. Oh, they picked it up.
Picked up the flag, so a no call. 2nd and 10 for the Blazers at the 25-yard line of Delta State. Ball's on the near side hash, headed to the right end. Blazers down 27-20. Patrick Pruitt has replaced Donnie Johnson as the VSU quarterback. Pruitt looking to throw, comes out near side, out in front of Wendell Olden. He felt the rush a little more than he should have, had another second to throw the football.
Boy, I tell you what, now that is something you do not see in college football this time. They came with what we call the weak corner blitz, Mike, and they brought a secondary guy all the way from the outside covering the wide receiver to blitz from the corner. Pruitt does a great job of sensing that and dumps the ball out to Olden. If Olden catches it, he's going to pick up a good 10 yards after it. 3rd and 10 here. Big conversion. Dog it in the game.
It is huge. Dog it to the near side. Up top, you got Hope at the far side. In the slot is Cooksey. 2 men in the backfield. Olden and Nelson. Pruitt looks down the line. His team down by 7 points. He gets Delta State to jump off sides. Now he wants to throw the football. Flags and whistles. Scores around the league. West Alabama losing hard to West Georgia 35-9. It's homecoming up in Carrollton, and the Braves taking best advantage of it. UNA 21, Central Arkansas 0, Arkansas Tech 17, Henderson State 14, and Southern Arkansas right now 7-0 over Arkansas Monticello. What do you got on the penalty, Carl Parker?
Actually, it was a delay of game. The 25-second play clock had run out, so this is going to make this 3rd and 15 even bigger.
3rd and 15 back at the 30-yard line. Remember, Jamie Lightfoot has already had a 52-yard field goal attempt this afternoon, hit the right upright. It would have easily sailed through had it been just to the left, just a couple of inches. 12:30 to play in a football game. Blazers down 27-20. Patrick Pruitt, the freshman, barking the signals. Twin set, looking down the field, over the middle, going to be incomplete at the 15-yard line. It'll be 4th down, and Pruitt got knocked on his backside.
Well, a good job. He drills that ball in there, and Winston had to be a tough play for him to hold on to. Looks like they are going to come in and try the field goal. This would be about a 47-yard field goal, and I'd like to see Jamie make this one. Would be a crucial field goal for us here, Mike.
Be held right at the 37. He's already kicked a 52-yarder this year. This is right about where he kicked the last one from, headed in the same direction. The hold is a good one. The kick is up with the left foot, and it hit the crossbar and went over. It hit the right upright and went over. Again, it hits the right upright and bounced through a 47-yard field goal by James Lightfoot. Has scissored the lead to 27-23. 12-11 to play in the football game. Valdosta State down by 4 points. Back for more after this 60-second network break.
More than 140,000 Americans have joined Peace Corps. Returning home, their experiences last a lifetime. Meet Sandra Hood, a substance abuse counselor, and Jean Lee, a community services director.
My Peace Corps experience has been invaluable because part of it is about just getting in there and doing it.
I had my college education, my volunteer experience, and then Peace Corps was just another added star.
Overall, my Peace Corps experience has enriched my life in ways that are very hard to define.
Peace Corps service prepares me for what I'm doing now because it taught me how to think quickly on my feet.
It's pretty much what you make of it. There are many, many opportunities in the Peace Corps.
I strongly encourage everyone to join the Peace Corps.
Peace Corps volunteers, changing America and changing the world. See how you can make a difference. Peace Corps, the toughest job you'll ever love.
James Lightfoot quite pumped up after that 47-yard field goal. It hit the right upright and bounced through. Earlier, he had a 52-yarder to hit the right upright and bounced away. And then he kicks the kickoff into the end zone, as he has done on past occasions. First and 10 at the 20 for the Delta State offense, leading at 27-23. Crowd really into it now. Going to hand off to Treg Thomas. He's going to be knocked down at the 23-yard line. Blazer got a hand on him from behind that time. Nearest man to the ball carrier was Terry Turner, the nose guard, the junior from Moultrie, Georgia.
Mike, thus far in the second half, what Delta State's done on first down, they've given the ball to Tregnell Thomas, and then second down, they've been coming with a little play-action pass. 2nd and 5 here. Watch for Delta State coming with a play-action pass, sneaking the back out of the backfield of the tight end.
Second down, 6 yards to go, 11:35 to play in a football game. Delta State leading 27-23. Going to hand off to Tregnell again. He's going to be stuffed at the line of scrimmage, but he keeps his legs moving. Going to take it near the 29-yard line. Let's see whether they're going to mark his forward progress.
Well, actually, Tregnell was hit on about the 26-yard line, and he drove forward for a good 3 yards, and he's right at the marker. They're going to give him a first down.
At the 30-yard line, first down, Delta State University. It's been a weird game. Blazers went ahead early in the opening seconds after a fumble went into or picked up by Shad Freeman, took it into the end zone, 7-0 Valdosta State. Then Delta State came back. Valdosta State came back. It was a 13-13 game at halftime. Delta went up 27-13 in the second half. Now it's a 27-23 game. Here comes the blitz. Wants to throw, hit as he threw, going to go out to the right side, going to be caught out at the 32-yard line. But boy, the helmet, the quarterback got his head really almost knocked off there.
Mike, it wasn't even him. It was the referee in the background actually got killed because Brad Trout was coming with him, and the quarterback was backpedaling. Trout hit the quarterback, and both of them went on top of the referee. But I tell you, Trout was barreling down, and Kershaw did a great job just to get rid of that ball.
Yes, he did. It was a 3-yard pickup for Delta State. 2nd and 7 out at the 34-yard line. 10:52 to play in a football game. Delta State leading 27-23. Here comes the blitz again. On the delay, Treg Thomas at the 35 to the 40. Still on his feet, 45 to midfield. First down, Delta State.
Well, they found Valdosta State came on the blitz that time and slipped it off inside, much the way the Blazers did against the blitzing Delta State offense when Vontrell got that big play. Delta State came right back and did the same thing, tried to hit the little quick hitter inside, and once you break that first wave of people, Mike, there's no one there to come down except for the safety.
10:39 to play in the football game. Blazers down by 4 points. Delta State has the football and a fresh set of downs at the 49-yard line of DSU. DSU, 4 down linemen. Kershaw wants to throw, comes out to the near side, going to be caught at midfield. We wrestle him out of bounds at the 47-yard line. Houston Cunningham makes the catch, and pulling him out of bounds is Derek Dixon.
Well, Mike, I don't understand that. They even kept the clock running. Right now, you're looking at 10:15 going in the game, and this is going to be a big stop for Valdosta State. If we can get something here and not allow Delta State to put any points on the board, it'll be a big moral victory for us.
That defensive secondary has really changed names a lot here. As Carl pointed out earlier, a lot of different people in there now. And the defense has been on the field a lot this afternoon. 9:45 to play in a football game. 27-23 lead for Delta State. 2nd and 7. Going to hand off to Craig Thomas. He's going to take it across the 45 to the 43-yard line. Blazers around the football that time is Antonio Speed. And we haven't called his name much this afternoon. Jesse Sutton had a huge game last week. The junior from Moultrie, Georgia. Hasn't been around the football as much.
Well, Mike, they've been taking that ball and running it more outside than, and Jesse Sutton's been going on a lot of inside blitzes. I've watched him come through that A-B gap, which is right between the guard and the center several times, and all he's ended up doing is chasing the play.
3rd and 2 for Delta State at the 43-yard line of Valdosta State. 9 minutes to play in a game. On the delay, they're going to knock him down. First man to hit him was Sutton, and then David Fox was there to finish the job. Exactly. 4th down and kicking time for Delta State U.
Exactly what we just talked about, Mike. Jesse Sutton comes running right through the A-B gap. They try to run an inside draw play, and Jesse Sutton is right there to hit Tregnell Thomas as he gets the ball.
Delta State will kick it, or will they? Well, they had a fake field goal earlier. Do we see a fake punt here?
They got safe in there now, which means their defense is staying on the field, only exchanging the safeties and the returner. Tell them to watch the ball. You can hear them on the sideline saying that, Mike.
It is 4th and 5. Now Delta State's going to call a timeout. I think they had to fake on. They're going to call a timeout and talk things over. We will take a TO as well. We'll take a break, a 30-second local break on the Blazer Sports Network.
On the big highway of life, there's only one safe place for kids. Backseat, baby. The front seat's not the place to drop out. Don't want that big old bag to pop out. Backseat, baby. Put that booties in the backseat. Backseat, baby. Have that kids you never meet. I'm here to remind you to put them behind you. Backseat, baby. Wow, look at here. Backseat, baby. You stay alive even when I drive.
Mike Jason, Carl Parker along for the ride on a beautiful Saturday afternoon in November at Bazemore Hyder Stadium. Final home game of the 1997 season next Saturday. Valdosta State will be on the road in Conway, Arkansas. The pregame begins at 2. The kickoff is at 2:30 against Central Arkansas. The Bears getting thumped pretty good by North Alabama this afternoon. That'll give Central Arkansas its 2nd league loss. North Alabama already has 2. The Blazers, should they escape this afternoon, would be tied for 2nd place behind West Georgia. West Georgia knocking off West Alabama this afternoon. But right now, with 8:20 to go in the game, VSU down by 4 points. Here's the kick, up and away. Doggett is going to catch it at the 9. Doggett goes across the field, but he will be slung down at the 2. Oh, my.
They're going to mark his forward progress at the 5, and as we've talked about, Doggett trying to make something happen really needs to head north and south initially, and he was so good at that early in the year, but now it seems as though he's trying to run from sideline to sideline right when he gets the ball, Mike.
Vontrell Mitchell at the end of 3 quarters had 15 carries for 131 yards. We'll see if he's back in there. He is, but he's lined up in the end zone. Patrick Pruitt is in there. This is his 4th series of downs. We'll see what he does here. He's led the Blazers to a touchdown and a field goal this afternoon. Going to hand off to Vontrell. He'll burrow into the line at the 3. No gain on the play. It'll be 2nd and 10 right at the 4.5-yard line. Valdosta State down by 4 points, under 8 minutes to play in a game.
Well, right now, they're going to that Twins where they had 4 receivers in the game. They have a good mismatch with only 5 or 6 guys in the box, but Valdosta State offensive linemen getting stuffed at the line of scrimmage, Mike.
In the no huddle, here's Pruitt's going to bring him up. Got Winston Williams out to the near side. At the top is Bowman. Also out there, the receivers looking at each other. They're going to just watch the ball in the end zone. Going to throw it out to the far side. Going to be caught at the 12-yard line. It will not be a first down, but it'll be a 7-yard pickup on the play. Pruitt threw it out of the end zone, got it over there to Carlton Nelson. He made a diving grab, so it will bring up 3rd down and a very short yardage situation. Looks like 3rd and a long 1. Right at the 14-yard line.
Excellent catch by Carlton Nelson. Again, much like the catch Cooksey made with somebody barreling down on him.
7 minutes to play in a football game. Blazers down 27-23. Pruitt at the controls. Got Vontrell Mitchell in the backfield. Looks like he's audibilizing at the line of scrimmage. Here comes the blitz. And Pruitt's going to be sacked back at the 5-yard line. Flags are down. What's that all about?
Well, I don't know. It's a very late flag to go in. If anything, it'll be holding from where I saw it, Mike, but it was, or illegal procedure. If we get away with the procedure, we'll get the play over.
And now the officials are marking the football right at the 10-yard line. And the call is going to be a holding call against Valdosta State. A inopportune time to pick up that kind of penalty. Pruitt's going to come over to the sideline and get instructions from offensive coordinator Matt Dunnigan. 6:49 to play in the football game. Blazers down 27-23. But now at 4th down, and so they will not take the play. They will take the play and refuse the penalty, so Valdosta State will punt it away.
And, Mike, two good things going for us here. We got the wind at our back and the sun in the receiver's eyes. We talked about that. If we can get it up there, maybe get a turnover here.
Devane will punt it out of his own end zone. Puts it up and away with the right foot. Going to come up and catch the ball at the 45 to midfield, to the 45, to the 40, to the 35, and to the 34-yard line. They got great field position. You're only 34 yards away, and you got a 4-point advantage, 27-23, 6:29 to go. Todd Knight, I'm sure, likes his chances here.
Well, not only that, but you remember the fake field goal we had earlier in the game looms very big right now because you're looking at a 4-point deficit. Had they tried the field goal and got it, they would have been up by 7 with a chance to put this game away. But right now the defense can do their job, hold them, and keep Valdosta State with a chance to win this game, Mike.
Mike Kershaw brings them up. Backs in an eye behind him. Toss sweep to Tregnell Thomas. Gets to the outside. Lassoed and brought down at the 39. Brad Trout with a gigantic play for the Black Swarm defense.
And I tell you what, that is a big player making a big play, Mike. We've talked about it over and over on the offensive side of the ball. They've run that toss sweep right at Trout several times. That time, he took out the lead blocker, bounced out, and made the tackle for a 4 or 5 yard loss. Just a tremendous play.
2nd and 15 for Delta State. Under 6 minutes to go in the game. The Statesmen lead at 27-23. Trying for their first win of the season. BSU fans stomping their feet on the aluminum bleachers. They're going to go straight ahead. He'll be knocked down at the 37-yard line. Far shy of the first down. Brings up a big 3rd and 12 situation for Delta State.
And, Mike, the thing here is with that loss, this ball is probably going to be out of field goal range right now. If he were to try it, it is probably going to be about a 52-yard field goal with a stiff wind in the kicker's face. And I don't think that Agner has the leg to do that from what I've seen this game thus far.
His long field goal for the year is 45 yards. But as Carl said, he'll have the breeze right in his face mask. Kershaw on a huge 3rd down play. Looks to roll right and throw the football.
We got a flag down on the far side.
Down the field. It will be caught down at the 26-yard line. Not enough for the first down, but a flag down on the field.
Let's hope it's not an offsides, which is thrown well early, either offsides or illegal procedure.
The officials are conferring. 5:01 to play in the game. Valdosta State trailing by 4 points to the winless Delta State University Statesmen. It is an offsides call against the Flame Red and Black.
Well, do you take the play, Mike? It's going to be 4th and about 3 here. And if they were to try a field goal from there, it is going to be of the 41-yard variety around there, 43.
Within the range of Agner. Now, Todd Knight's got a decision to make. In his 5th year as head coach, he's won 17 games, lost 29, and tied 2. An 86 grad of Ouachita Baptist. Ouachita Baptist in Arkadelphia, Arkansas, right across the street from Henderson State University, one of the Gulf South Conference schools.
4th down here, and I don't see any resemblance of a kicker going out there, Mike, and I heard him say he wanted to take the play. Or saw him say that. I didn't hear him all the way up here. Because he didn't. He actually took the penalty. It's going to be 3rd and about 8 now with the penalty being marked off, and the ball is on the 32-yard line.
Ball's at the 32. We'll see what at Delta State quarterback Mike Kershaw, 6 foot, 155-pound junior from Opelousas, Louisiana, is going to do. 5:01 to play in the game.
Bring the house, Mike.
It's been an exciting game. I agree with you. And then they'll try to slip Treg Thomas in there somewhere. He's lined up in the tailback slot. Kershaw's under center. Fans are clapping their hands, stomping their feet. They're going to give to Treg Thomas straight ahead. We'll knock him down at the 30-yard line. Oh, now a 4th down situation. We'll see what happens here. Tremaine Neal is there for Valdosta State. Also there is Jarmal Stevens.
And now, Mike, you're looking at it. It is going to be, if they try the field goal, about a 47-yard field goal into a win, and I don't see a kicker coming.
It'll be 4th down, and to get a first down, they're going to need to advance all the way up to the 23-yard line.
They're going to let the clock run down and try to take a timeout, Mike.
Hey, let the play clock run down. 5, 4, 3, 4:22. Now they're going to take a timeout with no time on the play clock. Timeout Delta State. It'll be the second Statesman timeout of the second half. 4:20 to go in the football game. 27-23. Valdosta State down by 4 points. We'll take a 60-second network break.
Do you think you have the power to change the world?
I can shape the future, one child at a time.
I know I can make a difference in those children's lives, and I know I have.
Who knows where my influence may stop?
I teach.
I teach.
I teach.
Yes, they're teachers, but to the kids they reach, they're heroes.
I think I have the power to change the world. The influence is always there.
Do you have the power to wake up young minds, to be someone's hero, to change someone's life? Reach for that power. Teach. If you want to make an impact on our future, call 1-800-45-TEACH. Want to change the world?
I teach.
I teach.
I teach. Be a teacher. Be a hero.
Agner's going to try the 46-yard field goal. He lines it up. He swings the right leg. It's going to be short. Valdosta State is held here with 4:15 to play in the game. The field goal is short, and the Blazer offense will take over at the 29-yard line of VSU. Patrick Pruitt, the freshman, in there at the signal caller slot. He's got to guide his team down the field and somehow make up this 4-point deficit. Looks down the line. He's got twin receivers on each side. One man in the backfield. Now the play clock runs out, and what do you got?
It looks like you called it. The play clock ran out, and I don't know what the heck's going on here because we had a turnover of downs, and evidently the guys had plenty of time to get in and get the first play off the sideline. Guys got to get the ball off. That's all there is to it. Freshman mistake there, Mike.
5-yard penalty against Valdosta State. 1st and 15, back at the 24-yard line, trailing 27-23. Pruitt has guided his team to 2 scores, a touchdown and a field goal, but we need one more touchdown to take the lead. Vontrell Mitchell has gone over 100 yards today. He's the lone setback. Going to hand off to Vontrell. He briefly ran into Patrick Pruitt. That slowed down his pace somewhat. He will pick up maybe a yard on the play. It'll be 2nd and 14 right at the 25. But importantly, look at that clock. Under 4 minutes to play in a game, down 27-23.
And Mike, Delta State continues to creep those inside linebackers in. They line up over the inside receivers and then creep in on the snap.
Patrick Pruitt under center. He runs into Vontrell again, rolling right, going to throw it down the field. Winston Williams going to catch the ball at the 35-yard line and be pulled out of bounds. It will not be a first down, but it'll bring up a 3rd down situation. Pruitt looked like he was going to be sacked in the backfield, threw it down the field to Winston Williams.
And, Mike, that was a terrible spot. I thought Winston Williams' progress took him well above the 36-yard line, and they're going to mark him back at the 32.
3rd and 7 yards to go for Valdosta State. 3:39 to play in the game. Blazers down 27-23. The freshman, the word responsibility weighing heavy on his shoulders, going to give to Vontrell. He'll bang right into the middle of the line and be knocked down at the 35. It'll bring up 4th and 5 for VSU.
Mike, and once again, you're looking at the twin set of fours from Delta State, Bobby Parnell, who has lined up over the right-hand inside receiver the last 5 times and has walked in, creeped in to make the play. And when Valdosta State hands the ball on the inside run, there's no one to block him there. He's simply left alone to make the play. 4th and 5 here.
4th and 5. The Blazers will go for it with 3:05 to play in a football game. Down 27-23. Nelson in motion, rolling to the left. Here's the freshman looking down the field. Going to be caught for a first down at the 41-yard line. He goes to Frizzell. One freshman to another freshman combined for a first down for Valdosta State.
Great catch and concentration by Dennis Frizzell. The defender was all over him. The ball hit him in the chest, and Dennis just squeezed the ball in.
Fresh set of downs for the Flame, red and black, 60 yards away from taking the lead in this football game. 2:51 to play in the 4th quarter. Here's Patrick Pruitt. Pruitt, twin set on each side. Bontrell, the lone setback. Wants to throw. Got a man. Frizzell again. Going to catch it at the 46-yard line. 6-yard pickup. Again, the freshman combo picks up 6 yards. It'll be 2nd and 4 at the 46-yard line of Valdosta State.
Well, and Vontrell does a great job of catching Parnell, who comes from the blitz from the outside. And if Valdosta State can find some time, Delta State is locked in man-to-man coverage, Mike.
2:15 to play in a football game. The Blazers down by 4 points. Twin receivers each side. Here's Pruitt looking to throw down the field. Going to be over the head of Mike Bowman and incomplete. Stops the clock with 2:03 to play in a game. And the Blazers down by 4. We'll pause for station ID. This is the Blazers Sports Network.
WVLD Valdosta.
3rd and 4 for the Flame, red and black. Down by 4 points with only 2 minutes and 3 seconds to play in the game. Winston Williams and Frizzell to the near side. Carlton Nelson and Bowman up top. Vontrell, the lone setback. Patrick Pruitt, the weight of the world on his shoulders, going to hand off to Vontrell. Again, they have trouble with their distancing, so it'll bring up a 4th down. He actually lost a couple of yards on the play. 4th down and 6 yards to go.
Well, Mike, with 1:52 left in the game here, we're going to take a timeout and discuss this, but Delta State is definitely intent on one thing. Patrick Pruitt's going to have to beat them, not Vontrell Mitchell. They're stuffing 8 people in the box and saying, we're not going to give you that inside run that went so big earlier in the 3rd quarter.
Going to take a 30-second local break on the Blazers Sports Network. Delta's 27, VSU 23.
Chemistry class led me to a life of crime. I catch murderers, rapists, and thieves with a microscope. Help your daughter become a scientist. Instead of a tea set, get her a chemistry set. Look at the boring job I got from being a science nerd. Expect the best from a girl. That's what you'll get.
Donnie Johnson was injured earlier in the half. Pruitt came in for a series. Johnson came back in, threw an intercept. Then Pruitt came back in on the next series, and Pruitt's been in there ever since. 4th and 6. Delta State sending in a lot of people, a lot of movement, a lot of motion. Pruitt's going to throw it down the field. Going to be very, very short, and Delta State is going to hold. No flags anywhere. Pruitt's on his backside. The Statesmen will get the football back with 1:44 to play in the game and a 27-23 lead.
Well, Mike, you get to it and you get a freshman in the game for his first time, and that was the second 4th down conversion that we needed to convert. You put pressure on a young guy like that, and he just hadn't been exposed to it, having to come up with play after play, and it'll catch up with you eventually.
The Blazer defense now wants to hold. VSU still has 2 timeouts left. Mike Kershaw is going to be under center. You can bet they're going to go to Treg Thomas every single time. Kershaw going to go to Treg Thomas on the outside. Treg's going to be lassoed and knocked down right at the line of scrimmage at the 44-yard line. Mark Nelson, Mike Kelly signaling timeout. Valdosta State, 97 seconds to play in a game. Blazers down by 4 points, 27-23. There'll be 1 timeout left for the Blazers. After that one, we will take a 30-second network break. This is the Blazers Sports Network.
Now batting, Brett Butler.
Butler is a dinosaur. They should rename this place Jurassic Park in his honor.
Dinosaur, huh? Did you know that Shunosaurus and Ankylosaurus dinosaurs were capable of delivering crushing blows with their bony tail clubs?
If education is important to you, talk to your child's school about raising academic standards. Call 1-800-38-BE-SMART for a free booklet. And be a big league parent.
Even my third grader knows that.
Smart kid.
The question is there enough time for the Blazers to salvage this one to winless Delta State? 27-23, the Statesmen in the lead, 2nd and 10 for Todd Knight's team from Cleveland, Mississippi. They're at the 44-yard line of Valdosta State. Kershaw calling out the signals. Kershaw wants to hand off to the fullback this time on the outside. He's going to take it 7 yards to the 36-yard line. And again, Valdosta State will call a timeout, and that'll be the last timeout of the football game for the Blazers with, let's see, 88 seconds to play in a game, and VSU's still down by 4 points. And we'll take a 30-second network break. This is the Blazer Sports Network.
On January 8th, Amy Narvajo was saved from freezing to death by the National Guard. Were it not for their employers giving them the time to answer the call, this story might have had a different ending. To every employer who supports the Guard and Reserve, thanks for making us your business.
3rd and 3 for Delta State University, and as Carl has already surmised, they'll undoubtedly go for it on 4th down if they don't get it here. The clock is the enemy of the Blazers. 88 seconds to go. Going to hand off to the fullback again. We're going to catch him in the backfield. He's going to dive forward. Looks to be just short of the 1st down by a couple of feet.
Boy, I tell you, Brad Trout had him about a yard in the backfield. If he stops him there, it's going to be 3rd or 4th and about 4. Instead, now it's going to be about a yard, yard and a half. So Delta State is weighing what to do. Todd Knight over there taking all the time they can.
It was Matt Walker, the fullback, who got the last 2 carries, not Treg Thomas. Now it's 4th and a yard, right at the 35-yard line. Blazers are out of timeouts. Clock running at 56, 55, 54. We watch helplessly here. The crowd on the edge of its seats wondering if the Blazers will even get the football back, and they'll let the play clock, and it does run down to 0. And now they call their timeout maybe before the play clock ran down.
Right.
Timeout Todd Knight. So it went to 0, but they called a timeout previous. 44 seconds to play in a game. Some of the crowd headed for the exits. The Blazers down by 4 points. What's the scenario here, Carl Parker? Would you just give it to Treg Thomas?
Oh, certainly. Just hand the ball up inside. Try to ram it in there and get it with the things you've been running all day. And if you don't lose a whole lot in terms of yardage here. I wouldn't even risk the punt or the field goal here.
27-23, Valdosta State on the short end of the score. Delta State may be about to win its first football game of the season. They upset the Blazers last year, 34-28 out in Cleveland, Mississippi. Right now, they are 44 seconds away from doing it again. Valdosta State had lost only 1 league game coming in, but there's still those 44 seconds. 4th and a yard. They're going to give off straight ahead. 1st down, Delta State University. To the 30-yard line. They did not give it to Treg Thomas. They gave it to one of those big fullbacks that time, and that'll be Billy Lyles, the 205-pound freshman from Forest, Mississippi. He will get the 1st down. They will move the sticks, and they will simply let the clock run out.
Well, Mike, you got to take your hats off. Delta State once again comes in, and when the game really doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot to them, and it means the world to Valdosta State, much like last year, Delta State's managed to put their stuff together and come up with a victory.
A bitter pill to swallow for Mike Kelly and his staff, as Kershaw is just going to put a knee down, but there'll be a penalty on the play with 15 seconds. Doesn't matter any now because they're just going to run out the clock. 15 seconds to go in a game. It'll be a 5-yard penalty against Delta State. Doesn't make a bit of difference. Statesmen are going to hang on for a 27-23 win over the Blazers, their first of the season after 7 consecutive defeats.
Well, in Valdosta State, you look at what we have left ahead of us now with a 5-3 season, or 5-4 season now coming on with 2 games left against 2 very good teams to come up with a winning season.
They're going to put a knee down again, flags down again with 9 seconds, 8 seconds to go in a game. 27-23. Delta State, and everybody said all along this is a dangerous football team. Nate Salant, the commissioner of the Gulf South Conference, said, hey, they are the best winless football team in America, and I have to agree with him. But they're not winless anymore. They're going to pick up a big W in Valdosta, Georgia today. Last year, we were ranked #1 in the nation. Today, not nearly that. We got an illegal procedure call against Delta State here. 8 seconds on the Bazemore Hyder Stadium clock. A crowd headed for the exits. They did not see what they came to see on this Saturday afternoon in November. Delta State will put one knee down, and that will take care of that. The clock, you hear it, the horn in the background, 27-23 on the scoreboard. A stunned bunch of Blazers walk out to midfield to shake hands with the visitors from Cleveland, Mississippi. Delta State goes to 1-7 on the year, 1-6 in the league. Valdosta State loses its second consecutive game, goes to 5-4 overall and 4-2 in the Gulf South Conference. Delta State University's players gathered at the 45-yard line, helmets in the air, lots of shouts down there. They had nothing to play for except they wanted a win before this 1997 football season was over. They came to Valdosta, Georgia, and they got it over the Blazers of Valdosta State. Ranked 19th in the nation just 10 days ago. Now 2 consecutive defeats, one to the hands of a team that hadn't won a game. And spirits have soared downward here with the flame red and black on this Saturday afternoon.